this night I was supposed to go out with these 2 girls. So she's like, yo, I'll come with you. And she was like, but I'll just keep myself on the other side of the place and let you do your thing. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to go with these. Like, I'm tired. Like, So she was like, yo, just go. So I said, look, fuck it. I'm not going to go with them, but let's go out and get a drink and just have fun. My boy Sean, one of his friends, owns a club in the city. So I was like, let's just go to his club. We had just met him. Let's just go grab a drink or whatever. And come to find out, the chick I was talking to was actually one of the bartenders that night. Funny as fucking story.
Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man B Vaughn here once again with the Indie Unplugged. Today, I'm of course joined by Johanse. He's sitting over there like, "Who you talking to me? You pointing to me? You pointing to me?" Yes, just Johanse over there, sir. Right? And today, we got an amazing guest. Of course, let me give the introduction as it should be. So today, we are thrilled to welcome the incredibly talented and versatile International Nova. Born and raised in the Bronx, Nova's journey from the streets of New York to the vibrant music scene of Atlanta is nothing short of inspiring. A Billboard-charting artist known for his unique blend of Latin, dancehall, R&B, and Afro beats, Nova has collaborated with legends like Neo, Schaefer Smith, for those y'all who need to know who he really is, right? I just like the name Schaefer versus Neo. I get it why but still, Neo, P.D. Pablo, and a slew of others. His hits, songs like Dolly and Controller have captivated global audiences worldwide. Beyond music, Nova is an actor, a philanthropist, and a voice for the voiceless, committed to giving back to the community and inspiring the next generation. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's please give it up to International Nova.
Listen, I love that intro. I'm going to have to pay you so I can get that intro. No, I appreciate that, man. Thank you guys for having me.
For sure, brother. Appreciate you being here.
Oh, of course, man. Of course. I love the setup. It's real suave, real laid back, real, essence. It's like the essence of podcasting. This is so dope.
The essence of that probably is kind of the feel that I was going for when I kind of set this whole thing up. Look, I had a whole diagram of how this thing was going to look. And so that's kind of like, the deal with Johanse. Mm-hmm. I posted it up on Instagram and he was like, "Yeah, what's that?" I was like, "Well, y'all guess what I'm doing over here?" Yeah. I said, y'all guess what I'm doing over here. He was like, "A podcast." I was like, "Yep,
that's dope.
That's sure am podcast." So, man, but I greatly appreciate you being here, man.
No, thank you guys for having me.
Taking the drive.
That's so dope. Like I said, you guys did a really, really dope interview with my manager Leon. And then when I saw Johanse on it, I was like, "Wait, that's family." Like, oh, this is easy.
That's what's up, man. So, I know you've been doing a lot of interviews. You've been on a lot of interviews, a lot of different platforms. But I always like to still go back to the beginning.
Yes,
like to talk about people's journeys and how they kind of got to where they are today. Mm-hmm. So if you can just kind of just give us the background and just your story, being in the Bronx and coming up as a youngin'. And so
it's funny, man, because I always tell people, you have to always talk about your journey and where you started at. Because if you don't have that and know that and understand that, you're not gonna know where you're going. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you can't skip A to get to B. So for me, I was born and raised in the South Bronx. Actually born in Manhattan and raised in the Bronx. My mom and my dad immigrated from the Dominican Republic. My mom came here with her family of 6 brothers and sisters. No parents, for the first, my mom and her family moved out here when she was like 14. You know what I mean? And she was mom and dad for the first 5 or 6 years that they were here as a family. You know what I mean? And then my grandparents made it. So, I learned really early on the definition of being a fighter and a warrior. Mm. You know what I mean? And a lot of what I learned, even in the streets as I was growing up in the Bronx was really watching my mom, man. Like, my mom was not scared of anything. We were caught in shootouts and fights and all that. And my mom is running in the middle of it. She was that neighborhood mom that That at least, it's different here because like the way kids are raised in Georgia, we grew up in the projects, we grew up in apartment buildings. So it's a whole different atmosphere. But my mom was that mom that was the mom to the whole neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So everybody in the block was scared of my mom as far as the kids, right? But the older people, the OGs on the street also respected my mom. You know what I mean? So to kind of watch that dynamic was super dope. But, anybody that knows New York City knows the Bronx is the birthplace of hip hop. And I was really, really lucky, man, to be raised in a time where music really cultivated the streets. It cultivated the culture, not only hip hop, but your everyday life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even if you were an older person, a Spanish person, black, whatever you was in New York City at that time, music controlled it. So where I was from in the Bronx is Fordham Road, the Fordham Road area. You know what I mean? You have Spanish music, you have hip hop, you have reggae, dancehall. You never know what you're going to hear in the street. And it was so dope growing up in the middle of that I really developed a love for music. I never wanted to be an artist. I never wanted to be, international Nova. I was just a fan of the music. And I was really lucky to be raised around people who were really doing it at the time. So like Tony Sunshine and Terror Squad and all those guys, the early members of Terror Squad, I grew up around those guys. You know what I mean? And when I even developed an inkling of wanting to do music, they pushed me to do music. When I thought I wasn't good enough, they pushed me to do music. And I was really lucky to be around people like that, man. I was in a group called Street Corner coming out of high school. And we were managed by the, people around the Cold Crush brothers, Africa Bambaataa, Grand Wizard Theodore, shout out to Theodore, Grand Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Cash, you know what I mean? All these different people who really, if you guys don't know, were the originators of hip hop.
Yeah, oh yeah,
you know what
sure.
I mean? And Melly Mel and
yeah.
Hanging out with those guys as a kid. Like I was a kid, you know what I mean? And it really cultivated my love for music. And I remember to this day, in the building that I lived in, at the time we had CDs. You know what I mean? I'm 6, 7 years old, and we had the bootleg guy that we used to sell CDs, the African dude. And I knew where he kept his CDs at. You know what I mean? In the building. So, we all had access to the basement and the rooftop as kids. And he had like a locker that he would keep his CDs at in the basement. And as a kid, I broke into his locker. So me and the kids from the building, we were just bored. Kids in the Bronx bored. And we broke into the building, stole some CDs, tapes actually at the time. And the tape that I stole was 2 tapes. Dr. Dre, The Chronic, and Tupac, Me Against the World. And when I tell you, man, I played that tape in and out, like that's all I listened to was Tupac, Me Against the World. That's how I developed my love for music and my love for hip hop, and that's really where it started.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. You broke into the locker.
Broke into the locker.
Broke into that locker.
That's crazy that you broke right
and
into
that was like the origin of my love for music was Tupac, Me Against the World, and growing up where I grew up at.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like so of course I'm a research guy, right? So I do a bunch of research before I do interviews. So I had heard that. I was like, he broke into a locker. I was kind of reminding me when I was growing up. But I mean, you broke into a locker. I broke into some people's house.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You see the link in the analogy though?
Yeah. I broke into their house. I mean, how old were you when that happened?
Man, I was like 6, 7 years old. Like I was, just kids being kids running around
kids
the building.
Being kids.
And I had older friends and we all knew where the locker was at. And, shout out to that African dude, man. He probably doesn't even know this, man, but we was the kids that stole all them CDs and tapes. And I remember he was so pissed off. Like I would watch him from the window and he was just cursing up a storm and was pissed. But it was me.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we broke into those people's house, man. We wanted their toys.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But so here's the crazy part though. I don't even think I've never told anybody this story. I ain't never told nobody this. Like I ain't never told nobody this story. But so it was me and a friend of mine. We were growing up. So I'm originally from Virginia.
Okay.
And so we were growing up, and this family who lived by his house had just purchased like a whole bunch of toys for their kids.
Oh wow!
Right, and I grew up in the hood. Well, I'm gonna say like the hood, like, but it still was. I mean, we weren't overprivileged. We were definitely underprivileged.
Yeah.
And so we wanted toys too. Our moms didn't have the money to buy us toys like that, so we broke into the house and
That's crazy.
Started rummaging.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And so and so after we get into the house, they come home. We get out the house, right? But here's the crazy.
Wait, so you guys stood inside the house?
We were so as they were coming into the house, we were leaving the house like through the back door, and they were coming through the front door, right? Wow. And so they didn't really see who it was. They just know that somebody was leaving the house. And so we end up running back to his house. It's so crazy. Back to his house. And so then we leave, go back to his house like, oh my gosh, bro, we could have been caught, man. We change clothes. Go back to their house. I don't even know why we did that. But we changed clothes, go back to their house, and as we just walking, and they were like, hey, did y'all see somebody? We're like, what happened? They were like, somebody tried to break in and blah, blah, blah. We was like, that's crazy, right?
Wow.
And so then
we... How old were you when this happened?
Right. 9, 10.
Wow.
Around there.
We do the craziest things as kids, yo.
So we helped them take the toys back into the house.
We helped catch the imaginary thief, put everything back in. That's hilarious, yo.
We helped them take the toys back in the house. But no, when I heard that, I was like, yo, that kind of reminds me like when you broke into them people, allegedly.
Allegedly. But you know, as kids, especially in the hood, man, and like, you know, growing up in the inner city, like we do dumb, can I curse?
Yeah, for
we
sure.
do dumb shit. Like we do dumb shit, you know, and I'll say this, the stuff that we've done as kids growing up, and you know, not for your son to do, because you know, but some of the stuff that we do, man, and we've done shape who we are as men as we get older, right? So I did some dumb shit. I was involved in stuff that I shouldn't have been involved in, you know, just growing up in the street in the Bronx. But I will say that it made me the person that I am today. It made me a lot more humble and whatever success I have, whether it's music, whatever else it may be. But it also made me understand life, right? Life sometimes puts you in the craziest predicament. And it's really not about what got you in that predicament, but how you get out of that situation.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, you know, even the dumb stuff that we do, the funny stuff, the cool stuff, it's all about life and it's about moments. And to me, life is about moments. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A moment in time that can shape your next decision. So, you know, I did a lot of dumb stuff. We stole some CDs, we stole some tapes. But that moment is what made me fall in love with music. Like, I remember as a kid when Tupac died, I was a kid. I don't even know, man. I wasn't old enough to even be outside yet by myself. But I remember that when he died, I cried as if I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that just tells you the impact that his music had on your life.
Yeah, and that's because I played that music 24/7. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you know, it's just like I said, it's a moment in my life that if that would have never happened, I probably wouldn't be International Nova now. Wow. You know, so yeah, it's life.
Yeah. See, I remember when Tupacalypse Now came out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, as a fan, I remember the album.
I remember when it came out, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get that new Tupac joint, Tupacalypse Now.
Yeah.
When Brenda's got a baby on. Like, I remember when that tape.
Yeah.
The tape.
He said tape. Yeah.
Walkmans. The tape. Walkmans, right? We had Walkmans and stuff. I remember when that came out. So, yeah. I mean, it just speaks to the level of influence that his music had on your life to spark that and go, that's something I want to do.
Like, I was leaving football practice and somebody pulled up in a car and they were talking about Pac dying, like, on the radio.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm.
As we were leaving practice, getting on the bus. I
remember that. I was, man, I don't know how old I was. I would have to, you know, go back in time. But I remember I was a kid and I remember my mom telling me, why are you crying for? You don't even know who he is. And I looked at her like she was crazy. Like, this is Tupac. Like, you know, but I mean, hey, it's a moment in my life and it definitely shaped who I am today. And it's funny now I have a son and to watch the love that my son has for music, it's crazy to me. Like that kid absolutely adores and loves music. He can be in his sleep, knocked out. If he hears any bit of music playing, jumps up and just starts dancing automatically. Like, and it's like, dude, you were just knocked out like 2 seconds ago. But it's music, man.
It's music. Music is that one thing that can transcend race and religion and
It's the universal language.
It's the universal language.
Yeah,
like,
it's the universal language for real.
You put music on, it will bring people together like nothing else.
No matter the language,
No matter.
whatever barriers that we may have as people, music transcends all that. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So how did your moms take to you getting into the whole music space? And
my mom hated that shit at first. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because I was okay. So my mom is an old school Dominican woman. You know what I'm saying, could barely speak English at the time. And, here is her kid, 12, 13 now, starting to write raps. And I really started doing poetry, you know what I mean? But as she would find my little scraps of lyrics, she would see the curses, she would see that. She just did not like it at all. It honestly wasn't. I remember as a kid, man, she threw, I don't know what happened. I forgot what I did. My mom broke into my room, ripped up all my notebooks, my lyric notebooks, threw it out the window, threw all my CDs and tapes. Dude, I used to keep, this is how crazy it was, right? I used to keep wrestling videos. I would record wrestling matches, right? I would record basketball games. And I remember that day she broke, she was so angry at me. She broke into the room, ripped up all my lyrics, my music, my CDs, my tapes, my VHS tapes, threw all that stuff out the window.
Dang.
You know what I mean? But now, she's probably my biggest fan. You know what I mean? But at the time, she just didn't understand it. But I think it wasn't until we started performing as I got older, and she would see the love I would get from fans, and she was like, oh, like this is actually something different. And now she's one of my biggest fans. It's crazy.
That's what's up. Because, a lot of times parents would be like, as a parent myself, I'm like, you want to do what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Like, why do you want to do that? Like, I don't think you should go get a job, and I think you should do that. But I think, especially in today's day and age, kids have more options. Than what we probably had. Especially for me back in the day.
The internet changed the game a lot, right? Because for us, you had to go to a record label. If you had any type of future in music, you had to get a deal, a major deal. The internet changed the whole game for everybody. Podcasters, YouTube channels, artists, whatever it may be, man. It changed the entire game and the entire way of thinking and how we can reach the consumers. You know what I mean? Now you have these people who, I remember at a time, we were really big overseas in Germany and Japan. Before anybody on my block even knew I was doing music or took me serious, I had a #1 record in Japan and Switzerland and the UK. And I remember watching people do videos on YouTube to our records, and they couldn't even speak English, couldn't, talk the way we talk, but they knew every lyric. They were dancing to our videos. They were making little crip, which is funny as hell to me now when I think about it. But it was like this big thing at that time in the UK of like crip dancing on videos.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy to me now that I think about it. But they had 1 million videos on YouTube at the time of people just crip walking and crip dancing. And it was like break dancing to us, but it was really crip walking. And they would do it all to our song. Then it was so crazy because to me, it's like, damn, that's when I realized music is the universal language. They say math is, but music is the universal language. These kids can't even speak English, and they're diehard hip hop fans.
Die hard.
You know what I mean? And so to me, that's when I realized what the power of music and what it has.
Yeah. That's the realization right there. You go, wow, transcends cultures.
Transcends cultures, transcends war, transcends everything, man.
Yeah, that's dope that you had a. I think that's kind of true for most groups in some fashion, right? Is before they have a big, that's what they did with NSYNC. That's what they did with the Backstreet Boys. That's what they did with a whole bunch of groups. They took them overseas first.
I'll tell you why. Because they value music. Whereas here, you need a cosign.
You got that right.
Right? Especially growing up in New York. Like if you didn't have a cosign from Diddy at the time or 50 or these different people, you wasn't being taken serious, right? Whereas overseas, they don't give a fuck about none of that. If you got talent and they rocking with you, they rocking with you. I was getting, we were making $10,000 a show overseas, and I wasn't able to make $5 here in a show. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. Like the UK, all these different places really just have a love for music.
Oh, I know. I got a cousin who's a rapper over in Germany.
Yeah.
He'd been in Germany since he got out of the military. He was in the military, went to Germany, was he a DJ at first? I don't think so. Became a rapper. and became one of Germany's biggest rappers, bro. Like
that's wild.
I was like, no, you ain't. I'm gonna tell you what. How I knew the moment that my cousin was one of the biggest rappers in Germany.
Yeah,
I ain't believe. I was like, come on, bro. Nah, you tripping, cuz I know you tripping. There was a guy I used to work with, a Vietnamese guy, and he was telling me one day he was going to go up to Atlantic City because he wanted to go to this CC Catch concert. I was like, you going to see CC Catch? He was like, yes, I love CC Catch. I was like, yeah, my cousin used to rap with her. He was like, your cousin? I was like, yeah. He said, what's your cousin's name? I said, his name is Kenny, but he go by the name Crazy. And boy, as soon as I said that, he was like, your cousin's Crazy? You mean over in Germany, Crazy, the rapper? I'm like, no, nigga, hold up, bro. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
At that moment, I knew.
That was crazy.
Right. At that moment, I was like, yo, maybe he really is.
Yeah.
The biggest rapper in Germany? Really? Wow. That was the moment that I knew.
Let me tell you what's crazy, right? And I don't think I even told this story. So at the time, me and my group, Street Corner, had broke up. And fast forward, I'm in college. I'm just bored one day in my dorm and I'm Googling our name, right? And I see all these different websites come up in like Japanese and German and all these different, I'm like, what the heck is it? So I'm translating, Google Translate. And I realized that our songs were trending in these places. And they have like how we have the Billboard charts and now Apple Music charts and all that. They have what they call the DJ charts. And the DJ charts, for you guys that don't know, is like, what is the hottest record in the club right now? And I started seeing our names like 2 or 3 times on every single DJ chart in all these different languages. And I would hit up the website and I'm like, yo, that's me. That's me. Like, how can we connect? How can we build? And that's how we started building that rapport with a lot of those DJs overseas. And I was able to link up with this DJ called Don Shanto, who was the biggest DJ in Switzerland at the time. And me not even realizing this till later on. But he really took a liking to us. He started working with Teal Cruz, who was like their Neo.
Wow.
We did a remix to a record that he had out that was never cleared by Universal. The record blew up. We did the record. 3 days later, the record blew up overseas. They started playing it in New York on Power 105 and Hot 97. They didn't know it was us on the record, though. So now I'm getting calls at 3, 4, 5 in the morning from different people saying, yo, Paul Rosenberg just played your record. This person just played your record. Envy just played your record. And I'm like, damn, like, how did I even get in a record? This was back when MySpace was popping.
Right.
People were downloading the songs off of MySpace, and because the song was doing so well, it got to the DJs. So now that's how we started buzzing, because now me being me, yo, that's me. That's me and my group. Right. This and that. And we started building the connection and the relationship with the DJs that artists don't even do anymore. But that's what started.
Talk about it.
That's what started getting us popping, man. And I remember just being in those situations, and I'm like, damn, like, these people don't even know it's me, and they're playing me on the radio. 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm getting calls from Japan. People in the army at the base in Japan calling me like, yo, I'm in the club, and they just played your record. And I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy, And then you start building on that, and, you start kind of hiring managers, and you start doing shows. And at the time, we had 4 records. And I always tell people this. We had 4 records at that time. Those 4 records had us on tour for 2 years.
Wow.
We literally only recorded 4 records.
That's wild.
Yeah. But yo, I tell you the power what you can do on only 4 records, though.
Yo. And we did that in our dorm room. That's the most ghettoest freaking. Let me tell y'all what's crazy, right? So I went to Dominican College up in Jersey, and they overbooked the dorm building. So they put me and my people and a whole bunch of kids in the Comfort Inn Hotel. I lived in a hotel room for 4 years while I was in college. So when you're in college and you're a kid, they have these little closets, like these double-doored closets. That was my booth. So I was able to. I'm in there like, yo, how are we going to record? Like, I want to start doing music. Bro, I was able to make that closet into a booth with the most ghetto shit. We had a blanket that would cover us while we're in there. The door stayed open. We went to McDonald's. McDonald's used to have them supersized sodas.
Yep.
With the big-ass lids on them. The little hard plastic lid. I took the lid, cut a hole in it, took a stocking from one of the girls' rooms next door, and the stocking became the pop filter.
The pop filter. That's right.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we recorded. And we recorded those 4 songs, and those 4 songs took us around the world.
See, that's what I love right there. See,
man.
Because that's a beautiful story right there. Because today people are like, oh man, I gotta be in the biggest studio and I gotta do this and I gotta have this. And it's like, you don't need none of that. I'm telling you right now, you can do. Bruh, that's the innovation and the ingenuity right there. Is figuring that
people used to figuring it out. People started realizing that we had a little studio in the room. Our dorm became like the freaking room to be in, bro. So we had everybody coming in, the different artists. Just like I said, even people who are popping, like it became the it room. And then as I got older, of course, I started having my own studios. Like, that's how I met Jahan at my studio. But that was the birth of our sound and our music, and really me learning how to engineer and do my own stuff. Because I'm real big on owning your own shit, but also not depending on nobody for anything. And those 4, like I said, those 4 songs took us around the world.
Trust me, I know. That studio that he had was dope. Real dope.
Yeah, man, that was my baby too.
That
was my baby.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I'm sure that studio is kind of like where International Nova. Let me ask you this. No, I don't want to assume. When did International Nova become International Nova?
Shit, a couple years ago. I think so. I think what, and it's funny because I'm tired of saying. So when I was in New York, right, we had started popping. I had started doing all these shows, and my name was really, really buzzing. But I felt like I kept hitting my ceiling in New York. I won every single showcase, we performed in every club. We was doing all these different things. I worked with everybody from, like we said, Terror Squad to French to Mr. Cheeks to Mike Geronimo to whoever you name it. We don't work with in New York, right? Diddy, you know what I mean? I was cool with Day 26. At the time, I was dating this chick who was best friends with Aubrey from Danny D. Kane. So we was always with them, like a lot of different just relationships that I had built. But I felt like I hit my ceiling. So I didn't know where I wanted to move to, but I knew I wanted to move out of New York. And I'm like, okay, Atlanta seems like the place to be. This was 7.5 years ago. Never been to Atlanta. I had just signed my deal with the time, which was with Monarchy Records under Sony. Me, Adina Howard, Dave Tolliver, Jermaine Jackson, which I still don't realize or get why they signed. And a couple other people. Shout out to Jermaine Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Jackson 5. But so I moved to Atlanta, and I quickly learned that everybody that moves to Atlanta tries to sound like Atlanta, right? And or everybody that's already in Atlanta sounds the same. So I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, I had met Bone Crusher my first day here. Right, I was on an interview with Dave. And in passing, Bone coming out, I'm coming in, I met Bone. I give him my CD and a card. And I was like, I'm new to Atlanta. I would love to work. Not thinking it would ever happen because it's Bone Crusher. He called me the next day. We went to the studio. My first 3 or 4 years in Georgia, I was running around with Bone, and that's how I met everybody in Atlanta.
Oh, that's dope.
Right? And he would be in my studio all the time, and Music Soul Child, and everybody. So, but what I learned quickly was that everybody sounds like each other. And everybody wants to sound like what's already out and what's hot, right? I've always had my own studio, and I always tell people the best thing about having my own studio is that I can just create.
Right.
Every song doesn't have to be a hit. Every song doesn't have to be released. My managers, Leon and everybody, are on me now because I have 4 hard drives full of music I've never released. Records with everybody I've never released. Excuse me.
Brother.
But what I love about the studio and having my own studio, it allowed me to find who International Nova is. Because I did hip hop for a long time. I always at the time stayed away from doing Latin music because I felt like that's what people expected me to do because I'm Dominican, right? So me being from the Bronx, hip hop is my love. So that's what I kept doing. But in the midst of that, in the midst of moving to Atlanta to do music, I realized that my first 2 years here, I didn't know music. Because I was just trying to find myself in Atlanta. I remember when one of the first things that Bone told me was, yo, don't stop being you. You're in Atlanta, but don't stop being who you are. And I never understood that until like a couple years later. I remember him and T.I. told me that. And a couple years later, I'm like, yo, now I realize what he was telling me. Don't come to Atlanta and try to be from Atlanta. Be who you are, because that makes you makes you unique. And having that studio at that house in Lithonia, first in Dallas, and don't ever move to Dallas, y'all. I'm telling you right now, don't ever move to Dallas, but Dallas, Georgia. But it allowed me to find myself. Right. And it's funny you asked me that, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago. I didn't become international Nova till like maybe 4 years ago. Because I was still searching. I was still trying to find my voice. I was still, trying to find my sound. I was still trying to find out who I was as a man. Because sometimes you get put in situations where, you have to kind of be a chameleon. You know what I mean? And I finally got to that point 4 years ago. It was like, yo, what you get is what you get with me. I'm going to be me. You know what I mean? So you either love it or you hate it, but you're going to respect it. It's always going to be love. And I'm going to do it humbly, but I am who I am. You know what I mean? And then I was also finally comfortable in my own light. Because a lot of times, and for me, I used to always dim my light because I felt like I was overshadowing somebody even without wanting to do that. And for a long time, I was always dimming my light. And then I finally realized, like, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I didn't start, and I didn't find out who International Nova was till about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think that is important, is finding out who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Finding out who you are as an artist. Because when I used to manage artists and consult with them, it's like, well, who are you as an artist? Who are you as a person? What do you stand for? What are your morals? What are your values? What do you want to do? What do you want to become? Yeah. Like when people look at you, what do they think about you as a person? Not even just as an artist, but as a person, as a human being. What do you want people to say about you when they see you? Right? Exactly. What's your image? What do you want to project? Right? I don't think a lot of people think about that.
It's hard. It's hard because just take the music aspect out of it. Just being a person in this world, there's so much shit going on in the world that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Your left and your right. Sometimes life be lifing for people, and people get swayed into doing different things for money sometimes. And then you add the music aspect, and you want to be successful. You see what everybody else is doing, and they're successful. So you ultimately be like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this. You know what I mean? Even though that might not be who you truly want to be. So I think that's something that as an artist, man, we and I say we because whether you're successful, not successful, signed, not signed, it's all the same struggle. We all have that internal struggle of trying to be who we are and being true to ourselves, but also being true to the fans and making stuff that is really who we are in that moment. Because we're human, we constantly change and evolve.
That's right. Constantly change and evolve. Now, I love the fact that you talked about being so self-aware that you realize that you hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
And you were like, and I think that ceiling exists for almost everyone.
Yeah.
Some people just may not realize it. Some people may realize it and still want to push versus trying to. And
some people spend a whole career not realizing it.
Not realizing like at all.
I'm telling you.
And the ability to pivot, I think, is crucial to anybody's career. I know we're talking about music, but I mean in anybody's career, right? So outside of music, I do organizational development and leadership.
Oh, no. Okay.
Right. And so the ability to quickly pivot is a characteristic that people look for in leaders, right? The ability to adjust and to shift and to recognize when something is changing and then to pivot with that and figure out how to do that pivot effectively. I think a lot of people just don't know how to do that.
A lot of people don't plan for failure. Right?
Yeah, so John Wooden has a no, me stop because I always get quotes wrong. I always get quotes wrong. John Wooden,
Coach Wooden.
Coach Wooden was a beast. He always had this phrase. He said, "Failing to plan is planning to fail."
Amen.
Right.
I'm a person, and maybe I'm a Virgo, right? But
hold up.
But
I know. I forgot to even say that. Let's shout out to Team Virgo up in the building, right? You know what I'm saying? Team Virgo. Hey, hold up, bro.
17,
Hey, hold up, bro. September 5th, baby.
Hey,
like we September Virgo. You know what I mean? Like, hold up.
But no. But it is a Virgo trait.
That's right.
To have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right. So I was always one of those people, man. I'm gonna be honest. I never thought I was good enough anyway for a long time.
Me too.
Right. So for me, I knew I had something, and I always said this even about when I was in my group. Like, people always told me that I was a star, and that's what caused the group to fail, right? Even though they're my brothers now to this day. But I was never comfortable and confident in being me, right, at the time. But I was the business behind the damn group, bro. I knew how to maximize any little thing that we had. I was maximizing the hell out of it. To this day, I maximize, right? So I was always the one who had a plan A, B, C, D, just in case. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's why I was able to be and have as much success as I've had in my career without having a lot of money or startup money to do certain things. My relationships have taken me this far because I was always a person who planned for anything and everything, bro. You know what I mean? Because, you know, life, like I said, life be life, and you just don't know what the hell's going to happen. Yeah. So I think that artists and people in general just don't plan. Not saying you're going to fail, but what I'm saying is be prepared. And I think preparation is like 95% of the battle.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? Because you can be the dopest artist, you can be whoever. If you don't know how to perform, if you don't know how to record, because recording is a whole different art. You know what I mean? You could be the best rapper on the block, but if you can't record and know your tones and all that, you're lost in the sauce. If you don't know how to interview, you don't know how to speak, you know, like that's all part of being prepared and preparing for greatness is learning how to do interviews, learning how to have a conversation, and learning how to, you know, engineer, produce, do all these different things. It's all about preparing yourself for that success that you want so bad.
You know, it's so crazy because you never know what that preparation is going to do. You never know what lane that preparation is going to.
You might have to pivot somewhere.
You got to pivot, you know what I mean? Right? So there was a time for me, and I still love it because I'm actually getting back to doing it now. My son always, this one over here, always gets me when I say I make music. He goes, "Do you? But do you though?
Oh,
do you really make music though?" And I'm like,
yeah, he do be saying that.
That's like my daughter. My daughter's the same way, man.
You're right. I haven't made music in a long time. You're right. Like, yeah, because I've been so busy doing this, that I haven't had time to do the music aspect. But I got to because I got 2 albums I want to put out next year. So,
but you know, sometimes I was having this conversation with my wife, right? Because we've been pushing our real estate company so hard, right? And she's like, "Yo, but I want to go on vacation. I want to do this." I'm like, "Yo, sometimes it takes us to go crazy hard for the first 3 to 4, 6 months so that we can be good for the next 6, 7 years."
Yes, sir.
You know, so this right here is preparing you to give you the time that you need to do the music. Because this could take off, and now, you know, you're on Revolt, well, not Revolt, but all these different platforms, these different TVs.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about Drink Champs and stuff, you know what I mean? But, you know, it will propel you to go on to bigger and better and make more money and be able to delegate certain things that's taking up your time, and now you can go back and do the music.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, because that's how I had to pivot.
Yeah.
So because I was doing this, getting all of this set up, still trying to do music.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I'm really good at doing music, but I'm really, 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 really good at consulting and development and leadership and mentoring and coaching and doing stuff like that, which is why I pivoted and said, you know what? And I really did it. So everybody used to ask, well, why'd you start We Create Music TV, right? Because the Indie Unplugged is a part of We Create Music TV. Why'd you start We Create Music TV? I started for selfish reasons because I was a producer that wanted to meet artists.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was living in St. Louis at the time. And so living in St. Louis, trying to meet artists, trying to meet other people, I was like, yo, hold up. How am I meet them?
Exactly.
I'm going to interview all of them. Then after I interview them, I'm like,
that's
yo.
fire, though.
I was like, yo, I got some stuff.
That's a fire.
Oh, you
that's
produce?
A fire idea, though.
Yeah, they were like, you produce, because they'll see like the machine.
Because it's all about, and that's where these artists today, man, like forget that, or don't even know that, to be honest. Relationship, the DJs, like relationships is everything. You know, I tell people all the time, I've been able to work with everybody that I was having this conversation with my barber today, right? I was in New York, and all the people that I idolized, and this is crazy, all the people, damn near every single person that I idolized in the music business, I can literally pick up the phone and call right now. Now they become my friends since I've moved, especially since I've moved to Atlanta. I remember I was in high school, college, listening to Lil Xan's album. Huge Lil Xan fan. That's my guy. You know what I mean? At the time, right? I was a huge Lil Xan fan. I grew up on Tupac and the Outlaws. Hussein Fatal, my favorite outlaw, my favorite rapper forever. became a good friend of mine before he passed. You know what I mean? He was on my first album. You know, I hit him up like, yo, I just got a deal. Like, I would love to do a record with you. How much you gonna charge me? He said, man, I'm a fan of you. Let's do music. Send me some records. I sent Hussein Fatal. Like, I sent him 5 records, man. And I'm like, just pick one. He sent me all 5 records back in like 3 days.
See, that's
with features on it.
That's crazy. I met him at the gym, like in Latonia.
Fatal, man, Fatal. No, he's the reason why I moved to Atlanta, right? So
that's crazy.
When I was thinking about moving to Atlanta, at the time, all of the Outlaws lived in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So when I was thinking about moving, I was like, let me call Fatal. Like, he's in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, bro, come out here. Best decision I made, come out here. He's like, matter of fact, when you come out here, I think they was on tour in New Zealand at the time. He said, as soon as I get back from tour, let's do this album together. We're going to do a joint album called The Wolfpack. And unfortunately, he died a week after I moved to Atlanta.
Wow.
Right? But he was one of the main reasons, because at the time, I was nervous. I didn't know if this was the move for me. And he's like, nah, do it. Do it. Matter of fact, when you get here, hit me. I got you. And, you know, unfortunately, he passed away a week and a half later. Well, a week and a half after I moved to Atlanta. But, yeah, like, it's those full circle moments, man, that, you know, even when things ain't going the way you want it to go, if you sit back and look outside of your tunnel sometimes, you can see how far you've progressed.
That's right.
That's crarazy.
Right? Like, that's, because when you're in it, you're in it. You're not really, I'm grinding. You know, I don't see the growth until somebody tells you, yo, this, and that. Like looking at that picture that you showed me earlier. You know, that we took in my studio 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, damn, I remember that. As soon as I seen it, I remember the entire thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And Jackie being at the house and all the producers. And we had like 10 producers in one room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were all just networking and working on beats. And like, I remembered all that vividly. And you know, but sometimes you got to step outside of your own tunnel to see how far you progressed.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you said, networking, not even networking. Let me go back.
Building relationships.
Yeah. Right? Because you can network. Hey, how you doing? Like, hey, I do music. Hey, let's get together. But it's having those relationships that can elevate a person to wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
Right. I think I always try to tell people that it's like, you got to build relationship with people. You can't it can't always be transactional.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let me tell you something. I've never to this day paid for a feature. And I've done records with everybody. Yeah. And I've never had to pay for a feature. Because I've had really good relationships with people. And I think that, and I'm one of those guys, man, that, you know, I really want to build the relationship before I even ask you for a feature or a favor or whatever it may be. I'm just one of those guys that I believe in being transparent and being humble and really just showing love. And if you take care of your people will take care of you. You know, and this is a use industry. People are going to use you, but I always tell people, use me, but don't abuse me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I always think about that same thing. When I meet somebody that I want to work with so bad, I wait till I build that relationship to even ask for us to do a record. And I never ask for a free feature. I'm like, yo, what it would cost to get you on a record or whatever it may be, because business is business. We all got families to feed. And 100% of the time, I've never had to pay for something. Thank God. You know, and that's just because I just built and took the time to build the relationships.
That's how I got Johanse over here.
You know what I'm saying?
Relationships. No, it's the truth.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Yeah, because when I met you, I felt that same way. You know, I'm an A&R. I was just there, you know, with the producers. I know DJ Payday and 40 Mil.
Oh,
so
40,
I was
shout
there
out to
with
40 Mil. I haven't spoken to 40 Mil since then, man.
Hey, I'll give you his number if you don't have it. Yeah.
Tell him I said what's up.
Don't worry, he'll be down here.
Oh yeah, the interview. Yeah,
because he hit me up. He was like, "If I got to fly to be in this interview, I will."
Yeah.
Like,
he's gonna be saying
he's
at my
a good dude too, man. He gave me really good vibes that night too, man. Like, we stayed in contact originally right after that, but you know, like I said, life be lifing, man. But that dude is super talented too.
See, that's how I ended up meeting a lot of people. Is I said, you know what? I'm not gonna meet a lot of people to being a producer. Let me just interview everybody.
Which is smart.
Which is smart. Crazy smart, right? Oh, like, let me just set up a platform, interview people, talk about their journey. And of course, I am genuinely interested in everybody's story, everybody's journey.
At French Montana. That's how French Montana came up, was Coke Boys.
Right.
He had the hottest DVD in the street in New York. You ain't know what the hell you're gonna see in that DVD.
Right.
People rapping, people
Right.
fighting, half naked chicks.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? But every DVD, French Montana was freestyling for 2 minutes.
And so
that's how he built his name.
It was a way. It was a different pivot that put you in the space that allowed you to build relationships with other people. Okay, so we got to talk about linking up with Melinda Santiago and Leon Cosby III. I got to make sure I say Leon Cosby III.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let me tell you how crazy life is, right? So I moved to Atlanta, as I said. I always got to give the credit to Bone Crusher, because if it wasn't for Bone Crusher, I wouldn't have really made my rounds in Atlanta. And, a week after moving to Atlanta and meeting Bone, I'm in the studio with Music Soul Child, Ms. Deb, all these different people that I, to this day, Ms. Deb is like auntie to me. But Melinda was in those same rooms. And I would always just see her from afar. And I was like, yo, she's super dope. You know what I mean? But she's also very intuitive, very spiritual, which I am as well. And my big brother Dave Tyler of Men at Large would always tell me, yo, you need a really, really dope manager. You got everything, but you just need a manager. And he's like, you need to link up with Melinda Santiago. And I was like, who is that? Not realizing that I had already seen her and met her, in passing. So as I got to I'm a Virgo, so I'm a researcher, right? I research, I Google, I do all that stuff. And I was like, damn, she really is dope. You know what I mean? So it just so happened that Clubhouse, well, first of all, what happened was fucking COVID. COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
So now we're all in our houses for 2 years. It was supposed to be fucking a month, but it ended up being 2 years. So we're home for 2 years, and Clubhouse pops off. My first night in Clubhouse relationships. My first night in Clubhouse, I had Akon, T-Pain, a whole bunch of different people in my room. Melinda ended up being in there for a few minutes. Just all these different people, and it was so dope. And I was like, yo, there she goes. So I followed her. Melinda had her own rooms in Clubhouse. And I would go into her rooms, and just to kind of, hey, you're gonna see, you're gonna see my name, right? So
right.
kept going into her rooms, kept saying hi, being super, super nice, and just, introducing myself. Never asked about the music stuff. After a few months of that on Clubhouse, I had reached out to her on Instagram, and I was like, hey, are you looking for any artists? Like, I'm doing Latin. At the time I had just started doing Latin music. I had just put the record out with me and Petey, that, Controller, which went really, really good for me. And I was like, I got this record with me and Petey Pablo. At the time, I was producing Petey Pablo's new album with him and Bone Crusher. Like, I wasn't a lot on the production side, but I really needed somebody to manage me. And she's like, no, not right now. We're not looking for artists. And it's funny, I'm going to tell you, it was crazy. But so at the time, I'm like, damn, okay, well, but I was still there. I was still going to her rooms. I was still, you're going to keep seeing me. And this was like maybe a year and a half in. And maybe about 6 months of me, like, really hard, just pressing her, hey, are you looking for an artist? You looking for any new talent? And I remember one day, man, 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from Melinda. And I was like, Melinda Santiago? Pick up the phone. And she's like, hey. I was like, hey, what's up, Melinda? She goes, you ready? I said, huh? She goes, I'm ready. She said, wake up, call me back. And I was like, what the hell? And I looked at my wife, and I'm like, yo, that was Melinda. Because she already knew, who Melinda was and what I wanted to do. And she's like, what happened? I was like, she said she's ready. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Because, again, I'm still half asleep.
Yeah.
And so my wife is excited because she's like, yo, like, I think she wants to work with you. Not realizing that Melinda had got in a label and had the distribution with Empire and all these different things. So long story short, we get on a phone call. She's like, yo, I'm ready for you now. We just did the label thing. That's it's the foundation is there. Now I can do what I need to do for you. Come to find out, I was having a conversation with so Leon Cosby III is Melinda's partner. Leon is the backbone of the business, man. He's so freaking smart, knows business up and down, very smart, very prepared, very prepared.
Yeah,
and
I'll take that.
And so when I met him, I was like, oh, he's super dope, super cool, but you got to be on your shit with Leon, because he will call you out, and if you're not ready and prepared, he's going to let you know you're not ready and prepared.
Sir.
So we started to kind of just build and just kind of, you know, see what we're going to do and how we're going to go about this. And I started having conversations every day with Leon, you know, and we built like this dope friendship. And because Melinda's always on the road, she's always on tour, and I was like, I don't want to bother her, you know. I'm not Ray J, I'm not Bobby, you know what I'm saying? So for those guys that don't know, she also manages Ray J, Bobby V, Pleasure P, Scarface, Scrappy, myself, just you know, a plethora of really dope, amazing artists, right? Huge artists. So I was always under the impression like, yo, I'm not one of those guys, so I'm not gonna bother you, you know. So I would always call Leon, and I remember he was like, yo, why don't you call Melinda? And I was like, man, I don't want to bother her, like, you know. And he's like, dude, and I told him, I was like, look, I'm not bringing in that income that those guys are bringing in, so I'm not gonna bother her. And he's like, no. He's like, you need to call her because you are going to be doing the same thing that those guys are doing, if not more. And that's what we're preparing you to get ready for. And I was like, oh, that's so dope. So then Leon told me one day, we were having a meeting, and I was like, man, we was just joking around. I was like, I was chasing Melinda for 2 years. And he's like, you know what's funny? I said, what? He said, we wanted to sign you the day that you hit her. I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like, man, I was chasing y'all for like 2 years. He's like, yeah. He's like, and I told Melinda, let's sign you the very first day that your name came up. He said, but we didn't sign you because Melinda felt she wasn't ready yet for a Latin artist. We were still trying to get the label together. And Leon is all about preparation. And he just said we wasn't ready at the time, so we wanted to wait till you were ready. But once we were ready, you were the first person we called.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, that's so crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
That is awesome.
They're super dope, man. You know, Melinda she's funny as hell. She's very blunt, very honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm the same way. So, you know, I love that about her. And then Leon is just very business. He's goal oriented. He's very organized, you know. And I think it's a perfect combination. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect combination.
It truly is.
Yeah, no, it's dope, man. It's exciting. It's exciting to be in a room amongst the people, not only who are successful and who are dope at what they're doing, but believe in what you're doing wholeheartedly.
Right. Yeah. And I'm gonna share my Melinda story. Man. So still living in St. Louis. Prior to moving to Atlanta, I was in a pseudo, I don't want to call it a pseudo group.
Okay.
Right? Kind of. We were thinking about
it's like the Avengers of music and shit.
Yeah. It's like the Avengers of music. You know what I mean? Like we were thinking about starting a group together, me and a couple of my homies back in St. Louis. And so I'm that person. I'm a Virgo, right? So I'm looking like, okay, who can I connect with?
And Leon's a Virgo too.
I know. I'm like, who can I, connect with and blah, 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 right? And so then I ended up running across Melinda Santiago.
Yeah.
I was like, Melinda Santiago. First I ran across Melinda Santiago and then it was the wrong one. It was I was like, she dated Usher? I don't think this is the one.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think this is the no, this ain't her. Then I found the right one. I was like, this is the one right here. And so I hit Melinda up. Did I hit up on Twitter? Probably Twitter. Kept hitting her up. Like, hey, we do this, blah, blah, blah. We starting a group. We're trying to make it, blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay, let me see what y'all got, what you doing, right? So one of my, I'll try to find this song the other day. One of the guys in the group is a singer and a producer, right?
Oh, okay.
He made a whole song about Melinda Santiago.
Yo.
I mean, he made a whole song about her.
No. You know why I'm laughing though? Everybody that meets Melinda, makes a song about Melinda. It's so crazy to me. Yo. She was just in London with Bobby doing some shows, and I looked at her page. I was like, Melinda. She posted a video, and they're in the studio making a song. Melinda. I was like, yo, everywhere she goes, people. But that's because she's so dope.
So dope,
you know.
Yeah. So he made a song about it, right? We sent it to her. I was contacting her, and then one of the other members were contacting her, and then this other guy made the song, and she was like, "What is going on? Like y'all just coming at me from all directions." Like I'm like, "Yeah, because we really serious about what we're trying to do." And so from that moment on, Melinda and I just built some type of
relationship.
Once again, this relationship, right? And so we were building relationships. And I would always travel from St. Louis to Atlanta. And every time I would come to Atlanta, I always contacted Melinda.
Oh,
hey, Melinda, I'm coming to Atlanta. What's happening? Hey, Brian, I am going to be speaking at this event. If you want to roll through, come through. I introduce you to a couple people.
Yeah,
hey, Brian, this is Devontae Black. You know,
my dude Devontae.
He's a master engineer.
Yeah.
Does a lot of stuff with Bobby V. Blah blah blah. Right, cool. Hey, come to this spot. We having Michael Keys' birthday party.
Yeah,
cool. I go there. I meet Michael. That's how me and Michael Keys actually became friends. Is through Melinda.
She's very warm, man. She's a warm
very
person.
warm, very open, very personable. She about her stuff though. Like,
she don't play.
Nah,
like, she don't play, man.
She about her stuff. And so,
but that doesn't surprise me though, your story, because Melinda is very warm. So even if she has no plans of working with you, she is still going to show you love and try to help you be successful, right? She's not a gatekeeper. She is not somebody who's gonna, because you have a lot of, especially in Atlanta, you have a lot of those, right? She's not one of those, man. She genuinely wants people to win, even if it's not with her or for her. She genuinely wants people to win. And I think that's why so many people make songs about Melinda and have so much love for Melinda, because she's really just a genuine, warm person, you know? Like her and my wife, my wife loves her, right? And she loves my wife. And it's funny because they're the same exact person. And it's funny because Melinda, we were having a meeting and she just busts out laughing. She was like, yo, you and me, talking to my wife, are the same fucking person. Like, you're just younger. You're my younger version. And it's just so funny because they connect on a whole different level. And it's just funny to watch sometimes. But she's just that warm person. But at the same time, she is very honest, very blunt. She's not a yes person. You know, it's funny because to this day, man, we had a meeting. We were, you know, I'm working on my album. I'm almost finished. And so I was playing her the album, and I was nervous as shit because she will tell you if something is whack.
Yep.
And from the first song, man, she got up and started dancing, and she was dancing across the kitchen, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, because it's like, she'll let you know if the shit is not going to work. Yep. And but at the same time, she is who she is because of who she is. You know what I mean? She's been able to get to this position in the business and get this respect from everybody because she is about her business. She knows what she knows. She doesn't play no games. Right. And she's very well respected.
Very well respected. Very well. And I appreciated her because she didn't have to be open to me to allow me to be a part of anything that she was doing. She didn't have to invite me to any event that she was doing. She didn't have to introduce me to anybody that she was doing. I remember when Bobby V was performing at in downtown Atlanta at one of the hotels, and she hit me up. She was like, "Hey, Bobby's doing a show. You want to come out?" I was like, "Yeah, I bring me and the wife come out and we have a."
Oh, that's dope.
And while we were there, this is the part right here that made me go, Melinda is probably one of my favorite people. There's tons of people there. She walks up to me and my wife and go, Brian, y'all okay? Y'all need anything? You settling in pretty good? Okay, cool. Bobby be down here in a little bit just to make sure y'all good. Like,
yeah.
Yo, wait a minute.
She's dope, man. And she doesn't forget her face.
I'm like, wait a minute. And I've had to call Melinda several times, like especially when I was managing the artist. Hey, Melinda, yo, this artist trying to get over. Like, what's going on?
Get over.
What's going on? Put him on the phone. All right, bet. Hey, she wanted to talk to you. And like, yeah, like she is that type of person.
She is. But you know, the one thing about this industry is that nobody owes you anything in this industry, right? No matter how successful or how whatever. But the fact that she is warm enough to have conversations with people, shit, I chased her in Clubhouse for it's got to be at least almost 2 years, I would say, because it was the whole pandemic. Up till now, right? Because we just started managing me over the summer, right? So right before the summer started. So maybe even more than 2 years. But she didn't even have to have a conversation with me, right? Because I've been lucky. I've done some things. I'm not Ray J or Bobby V or any of those guys. But she still had enough warmth to have conversations with me. To, you know, let me down slowly. You know, she didn't break my heart. You know, but no, she's just super dope, man. Both of them. They're super dope. It's funny watch. I told them the other day, you guys remind me of me and my wife, because he's a Virgo like I am, and I want to say that Melinda and my wife have the same sign as well, but it's like a cat and mouse thing. We've been having this conversation when it comes to reality show. We got a couple of things on the table, me and my wife, and we wasn't sure which way to go with it. And Leon wanted us to do one thing, Melinda wanted us to do another, and they're going at it. And it's just hilarious to watch. But they have so much love and respect for each other, and they value each other's opinions. That is so dope. You know, just as a person, because I'm one of those guys that I soak up game and I soak up knowledge, and I want to know. And I just be sitting there watching them, laughing, but in the back of my head, I'm like really soaking it in. That they're even having a conversation about me and my career, but that they're so both passionate about it. You know what I mean? It's just so dope to watch.
That's that Virgoism.
Yeah.
So y'all talking about Virgos.
I'm a people watcher, bro.
I'm a people watcher.
Let me tell you a secret.
I will watch you.
My mom's a Virgo. I ain't want to say nothing, but I had to say it. I'm a Leo. She a Virgo.
Hey, shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom for that.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
Look, I will watch you.
He kept it in the tuck.
I will watch you. I will watch your behaviors, your actions, and everything you do, everything you say. And I'm super extroverted, but I will sit back and watch. You would think I was an introvert because I'm like.
It's funny though because I'm actually introverted. I keep to myself, but because for me, you know, and it was funny because with my wife, she had to learn this about me. Some people, when they get into the music business, it consumes them and it runs their life and it ruins their life a lot of times. I treat music like a job. It's my 9 to 5, right? So I can turn on International Nova, but I can turn that shit right off at 6 and now I'm Nova or Junior, like my family calls me, right? And it was so funny to watch because my wife was like, I was in an interview one day and she was like, yo, you really do just turn it on. And it's like, I had to learn how to do that because if not, this thing can consume you. Yeah. Right? And ruin relationships and ruin lives and things like that. And I think that me being who I am, being a Virgo, I'm very much a people watcher. And it was a big thing when we first got together, me and my wife, because she would think I'm like looking at somebody like to check them out. And I'm just like studying them. You know what I mean? And then after a while, she's like, what happened? Like, you know, now she wants to know what's going on.
That's right.
And I'm like, yo, this and no, you know. But I'm just and I think it's also the New Yorker in me. Like, I know when I go somewhere, I know, you know, exit A, exit B. I know where everything is at just in case. But, you know, I think it's a Virgo trait. But I think that
it's just calling my mom up there. If we get
ask her.
Ask her about that.
Yeah,
I think it's a Virgo
trait. We study everything.
We study everything. And when we walk
trust me, I know.
Look, we walk into a building, we already know. Okay, that's over there, that's over there. Okay, cool. Because anything pop off, we gonna be ready.
Yeah.
We gonna
I
have
don't
plans.
sit with my back. Like I sit with my back to the wall.
To the wall.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's little weird things like that.
Man, this is kind of weird.
Does your mom do that too? Yeah. I do the same thing, bro. Like,
yeah.
I sit my back to the wall. Like, I gotta see what's going on in the atmosphere. I'm always checking, I'm always checking behind me. Like, what's going on? Always like. Yeah, I'm not one of those people who just look this way, and I'm always aware of my surroundings and what's taking place.
You have to be. You have, especially in these times, man. You have to be. It's a lot of weird shit going on, and you know, kids can't even be kids anymore. Like, you know, it's crazy to me that down to kids going to schools and these mass shootings and all that. Like, that used to be the safe place. Nothing happened in school. You know what I mean? Growing up, when you're in school, you good. Now it's
crazy.
You can't even go to school and be safe. You gotta be worried that your kids gonna make it home from school. We live in a crazy time.
Crazy time. Okay, so speaking of kids, speaking of family, being married, how do you juggle that? How do you juggle marriage, being a father?
My wife says that I'm a great dad, but I'm really learning on the fly. Right? I think that I waited a long time before I had a child because I didn't want to be that Rolling Stone dad that's always on tour, that's always on the road, that, you know what I mean, can't be there for their kids. My dad was never there for me, right? I'm going to tell you guys a story. So I actually met my wife at an event downtown. One of my songs had made it to Covenant TV show on AMC All Black Network. And they were having a premiere for the episode, right? And shout out to Justin Case, my brother Justin Case. Dopest photographer in Atlanta. Craziest white boy in Atlanta. That's my guy. He brought my wife to the event in the hopes of trying to hook us up. Right? He didn't tell her that. He didn't tell me that. So anyway, I'm in the event. My publicist calls and she's like, yo, I got this Dominican girl out here. She is gorgeous. You need to come meet her. I'm like, oh, well, bring her inside. I met my wife. Me and my wife were literally dressed alike. The exact same.
Wow.
Purple and gold. Literally purple and gold. And we're like, oh shit. So we take
Royalty.
a picture. We take a picture, which ends up becoming our wedding invitation picture. So funny. But so I met my wife. You know, up until that time, I was doing a single thing. I was running through Atlanta, literally. And you know, met my wife and we became friends. It wasn't even like a romantic thing. We were just friends for the first few months.
Right.
And then we just gradually started becoming, you know, in a relationship or whatever you want to call it. But she had kids. She had 3 kids before she met me. And, you know, I was at a time in my life, I was like, I want to have a child now, right? I don't know who I was going to be with at the time, but I knew I wanted to have a child at some point. You know what I mean? My dad was never there, but I've always vowed that I wasn't going to be my dad, you know? And then me and my wife got together. We got pregnant, you know what I mean? We got my son, Prince. At the time, I had not been doing music for like a year and a half. I almost lost a finger. So, Jahan said was talking about my pit bulls.
Yeah.
So we sold the house in Lithonia, bought a house in Little Burn, this big-ass 8,000 square foot house. I'm trying to find, we literally just moved into the house. I'm trying to find light switches. I don't know what shit is at. I had 3 pits at the time when Jahan said came over. I have 2 now. My oldest female, she died a couple of years ago and broke my heart, whatever. But she was like the pack leader. She kept the boys in line. For whatever reason, the day after she died, now my oldest does not like my youngest, and they get into it all the time. So we have to keep them separate. So at this night, we move into this house. We have one in the basement, one on the main level. One of the kids left the doors open. So my oldest, my 9-year-old comes up, my dog, and attacks the younger one. Normally, I can break them up pretty quickly. It's not a problem. But because it's pitch black and I can't see, I don't know where the light switches is at, I go to break them up. My hand gets caught in the middle. Danny, I lost my finger, right? So I'm not realizing how bad it is. I'm wrapping my finger up with my shirt. I'm still trying to break them up. Finally get them broken up, not realizing I'm bleeding everywhere. It's a trail of blood. My wife, you know, we look at my hand, she calls the EMTs. I'm laughing and joking. I'm like, oh, it's going to be all right, you know, not realizing how bad my joint was. So I had to get 4 surgeries, and they said that my hand was literally, my fingers was hanging by 2 ligaments on the side. So they had to essentially reconstruct my whole finger, and then a piece of my bone was actually missing. So it was so crazy because it was literally like a 2-second thing. Like my youngest bit me because he was trying to bite the older one back. And once he realized it was me, he just let go and ran away. And me, you know, not realizing how bad it was. So we go to the hospital, get the surgery. This is before the wedding. She's 7 months pregnant. You know, I had to get 4 surgeries. I had pins in my hand, the whole 9. We get married at the wedding. And that was the first time I seen my dad in 13 years. Right? Wow. Yeah, my dad was crying the entire weekend. He was here. My son, you know, he was like with my son 24/7. First time I see my dad in 13 years. We do the wedding, small intimate joint. Next day I'm on the plane. The wedding went viral. Now we're on People Magazine.
Yeah, I know.
We're all these different things. I'm getting phone calls from 100 million people. I'm in Puerto Rico. Like, what the hell's going on? And so then that's kind of like what jump-started me getting back into music again so quickly. Because at the time I'm healing up, you know, it's taking about a year to heal up from this. And, you know, just moving and adjusting to being married, adjusting to having a child, you know, and I really wasn't focusing on music. And I was recording. I would always record, but never released any music. The whole thing went viral, jump-started me back into doing music. I started chasing Melinda again, and now we're here. But it was so funny because I went from living that rock star music life, right, with the women and city to city and all that, no kids, to now having a full family, house full of kids. But it's the most beautiful thing in the world. I love it, you know. And my wife always said, she's like, "Yo, I don't know how you so quickly became like the number 1 dad. Like, I don't miss events. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm me and my daughter have like the best relationship in the world, me and my stepdaughter. And it's so dope because it's something that I thought I wasn't going to have at one point, right? But making that transition into that and then juggling music and juggling reality TV and juggling everything else, the real estate stuff that we got going on. It's a lot. But like I said, sometimes you got to work super hard for a short amount of time to be able to relax for a long amount of time. Right. You know, so, you know, I think that everything has a beginning and an end, and everything has a road to success. And I think that that's where I'm at right now. laying the groundwork. You know what I mean? Bringing International Nova back into the fold, starting to release music again, and the album is done. Damn near, it's an amazing project. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
sir.
For sure.
Thank you, man.
For sure.
We got some bangers. We got some bangers.
I'm sure.
I know you do.
I'm sure.
We got some bangers, man, and I'm excited. I'm just excited, man. Like, I'm happy.
So let me ask you a personal question.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you met your wife?
Uh-huh.
You're interested in her. You're courting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even before that,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out she has 3 kids.
Well,
how did you feel at that moment of a woman that you're interested in
having kids.
Well,
I had got to the point that I realized if I ever get to marriage, right, anybody I met at this point in my life was gonna have kids. Because I'm already, I'm in my early 30s, right? So everybody's gonna have kids at this point. If they don't, there's something wrong with them. Like it's something going on that you might not be aware of. You know what I mean? Right. So it didn't deter me at all, man. Okay. My wife had kids, very young. She had her first child at 17, her second one at 19. So they're older, they're great kids. So it wasn't something that deterred me. It was funny because she was so nervous to introduce them to me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we clicked like immediately. And like I said, me and my daughter are inseparable. You know what I mean? And every time something happens in the house, she's like, "I know you're gonna take his side." And it'd be funny as hell. But no, it's
That's right.
I think that as a man, right? I think that I think the want of a family is something that really, the right family can propel you to be very successful. Mm-hmm. Because I think that, especially in this industry, you got to have that foundation. You got to have that support system, right? And I think that, the tours and the women, all that shit is fun up to a certain extent. But at some point, you sit back and you're like, damn, like, what am I coming home to? Like Johan will tell you, my house was the bachelor pad, man. But
it's true.
I was.
He said it's true.
It was the bachelor pad, bro. Like I had glow in the dark kitchen. It was crazy. But
a glow in the dark kitchen.
It was the bachelor pad, bro.
Right.
But to some people at least, I would say that you want to come home to somebody. You want to come home to things. And I will say that my son, man, like that is the joy of my life right now. Like that, to watch him grow up, and he's literally my twin at this point. But to watch him grow up and see the love that he has for music is so dope to me. And he knows all my songs. He'll watch me on videos or TV or interviews or whatever. He's like, da. And he gets so excited. It's so dope to watch. And I think that every man should experience that.
So I asked a question because, and I don't tell this story to anyone.
I'm getting stories out of him today.
You're getting stories, right? Like, that's what I'm saying,
go.
Right? Yeah. Getting stories. So when I met my wife, she had 2 kids. And at the time that I met her, I was 24.
Yeah.
And she was getting ready to go on to 32. And she had 2 kids already, 9 and 6. And for me, it was the fact that I knew that she was the one.
Yes.
I knew she was the one. I was like, that's the one. And as a young 24-year-old man, fresh out of the military, in St. Louis, getting my first, I won't say getting my first job, but getting the job in St. Louis, and I walk in the door and she's the one. She has to tell you the story because I don't remember.
How long were you guys? Okay, because now, how long were you with her till you realized that you wanted to marry her?
Oh, probably like 6 months.
Yeah,
probably like 6 months in. So when I first met her, I was applying at a bank, and I went for the interview, and she was the one who walked me to the interview. Hi, how are you? Let's come into the back. I didn't even know that it was her, right? And my wife was fine. Like, oh my. When I first laid it, I told her the day. I said, when I first saw you, I was like, damn, this woman is gorgeous. Like, yeah. And so she walks into the back, and I'm doing my thing. But she says, as she's closing the door, the Lord spoke to her and say, take note. She was like, take note. Like, what you talking about? Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so I do the interview, and then I get a call. I still tell her to this day, if the other job would have called before, I would have been there. We'd have never met.
That's crazy.
Because I was just waiting for
the call.
And they just happened to call first. And I was like, yeah, let's go.
Happened for a reason.
Happened for a reason. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And I remember working at this bank, and the very first time I really, really saw her, I was like,
yeah.
Who is that? Oh my God. I went to the security guard, was like, who is that?
Yeah.
And so we just hit it off. But she had 2 kids. And at that moment, I had to make the realization and go, if that woman is the woman that I want in my life, I am now going to take on the responsibility of being a father.
Yes.
And I had no kids at this point.
Yes.
I'm going to be a father to these 2 kids now. And they were like, who the hell are you?
And that's the scariest thing.
We don't know you.
That's the scariest thing. I was
we don't know you.
We got a lot of the same. When I met my wife at that event, I wasn't even trying to talk or holler at her because I thought she was out of my league. I was like, yo, she is gorgeous. Like, I wasn't even trying, you know what I'm saying? Not even trying. And then because we were just so cool and click, you know, when we were talking and just joking around, I'm like, oh, she's cool as shit. And my inside, I wanted to holler, but I was like, I'm not even going to try. I don't want to get shut down, you know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that we gravitated towards that. And I'm going to tell you what happened with us. We had went to, this is the funniest thing. So, come to find out, she lived down the block from me at my old house in Lithonia.
For real?
For years.
Wow.
For years.
Wow.
Like, for years. Never ran into her at Publix. Never saw her at Pizza Hut. None of that shit, right? Quick Trip, none of that. Never ran into my wife other than that at that event. And we didn't realize that we lived literally a block away from each other till like 2 months in of us knowing each other. Because what happened is we went to the same gym as well, LA Fitness on 78, and never seen each other. Wow. I go late, I go at night because I play ball. She was just go in the morning. Never knew that until we, you know, one day it was like, yeah, where do you live at? You know, and what happened was I was I was supposed to go out with these 2 girls one night. And I was tired, man. So, you know, my wife now would always invite me out as friends, though. Like, yo, I got to go do this event. Come with me. And I'm like, nah, I'm chill. I'm tired. I was in the studio all night, this and that. So she felt really comfortable with me because I wasn't trying to holler at her. She would always tell me, like, yo, like, you wasn't trying to holler at me. So I didn't feel the need to have to, like, you know, shield myself from you. So she would always call me, let's go hang out. Let's go do this. You know, I'm going to an event. Come with me. And I'm like, nah, like, I'm not. Because unless I'm working and I'm doing something for music, I'm a homebody.
Right.
You know, so it just so happened that this night I was supposed to go out with these 2 girls. So she's like, yo, I'll come with you. And she was like, but I'll just keep myself on the other side of the place and let you do your thing. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to go with these. Like, I'm tired. Like, you know. So she was like, yo, just go. So I said, look, fuck it. I'm not going to go with them, but let's go out and get a drink and just have fun. My boy Sean, one of his friends, owns a club in the city. So I was like, let's just go to his club. We had just met him. Let's just go grab a drink, whatever. Come to find out, the chick I was talking to was actually one of the bartenders that night. Oh, funny as fucking story. So, so now I'm at the place with my wife now. Right, now she's my wife. But at the time, me and Chris was just friends, and we're at this club. A fight breaks out. Right, we're like there for 20, 30 minutes at this point. A huge fight breaks out. Security recognizes me, knows me, so they come and grab me, make sure I'm okay. And I'm like, no, get her. But at this point, everybody's bum rushing. I lost her. So now they're like, well, we got you. You know, they go ahead and take me outside, give me the safety, whatever. I'm at the front door like, yo, but hold on, my homegirl. Like, I got to find my homegirl. She's from New York, too. She got Tim's on. She comes out like 10 minutes later. She's just chilling. She's like, yo, you good? I was looking for you.
She's like, you good, son?
Yeah. So she's a big tomboy. So, you know, in reality, she's a tomboy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But she just happens to be gorgeous. But so now I like grab her and I snatch her. I'm like, oh, come on, just come with me. Because at this point, you know, it's Atlanta. You know what's going to happen. You might get a shootout. So I grab her, and in the midst of me grabbing her, that was the first time I ever held her hand. Never let it go after that.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your wife named Chris?
Yeah.
Guess what my wife's name is?
Chris? That's crazy.
Christina,
yeah. That's my wife. Without the H. Without the H, though. Christina. Yeah, that's crazy.
Virgo, crazy. Baby.
Yeah. And we got married.
Call my mom up.
We got married a year after we met.
We got married a year after we met.
Yeah.
Sure did. That's how I got these boys over here now.
We got engaged on Mother's Day, got married on Father's Day.
Wow. Yep, we sure did. Yeah. They moved in because they were living in a place. I was living in a place. I was like, look, we got to make this happen. We got to make this happen.
When you know, man.
When you know, you know.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm 24.
Wow.
You know, I'm in St. Louis, working at the bank, but I'm still doing like because Johansi's a veteran. I'm a veteran, and so I still had to do my 2 weekends a month, right? And so I used to come over in my Army uniform. She was like, "Yo, who's this dude?" She actually thought I was older, and she was like, "If I known you were 24, I'd have been like, I don't know, it's crazy." And she always tells the story. She was like, "I was trying to hook you with everybody else."
That's what my wife was trying to do.
See, and I'm like, I'm only interested in you.
She had this friend that was gorgeous, and she kept trying, we're just people at the time. She's like, yo, this and that. And it just didn't happen because I was, like I said, I'm not one of those that I'm in the club. Unless I have to perform. So I was just like downplaying it. And she was like, yo, like this girl's gorgeous. Come hang out with my friend. And what happened, that shit didn't work out and we ended up working out, But exactly. I'm a firm believer that things happen when they're supposed to happen. I'm a firm believer in timing. And one of the things that I love about my wife, and I realized that as a man in this business or in any business that requires a lot of your time and attention, you need a praying wife. And she is a praying woman.
And my wife is definitely.
And but I was having this conversation with my wife and my daughter the other night about being a stepdad to not only kids but older kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, yo, like wasn't that scary? This is my daughter asked me, she's like, wasn't that scary for you? And I was like, hell yeah, super scary. Because one is, I was raised by a stepdad. I had a stepdad in my life. And I understand why he was the way he was. Because my stepdad was very timid. You know what I mean? He didn't get into shit with me. If he saw me and my mom arguing, he's like, hey, just chill out. Like, he was one of those. And I kind of realize now how hard it is to step into a relationship with children who are already, there, but older kids. Because they're already developed. They have their own frame of mind, their own thinking. They have the way that they've already been parented by their actual real biological parents. And then there's a line that you have to kind of like tiptoe because you don't want to overstep. Mm-hmm. And then you get hey, you're not my dad, but you don't want to also understep and not be there for them. So it was a hard thing for me just kind of finding my footing with them because I don't ever want a child to be like, you're not my dad. Like, right. Who are you talking to? And because I had a stepdad, I realized, it also must have been crazy for them. But I was really lucky, man, because I got the best kids in the world. Like, we have a great relationship. We've always had a great relationship. It's funny because now she just had her first boyfriend. She has a first boyfriend. And it was funny because they were at the house and he's been a cool kid, hanging out at the house and, respectful. And something happened. I guess he had left something on the floor. And my daughter comes, she's like, I'm so sorry. I'll let him know not to do that. And I'm like, it's funny because I just mess around with her and I'm like, yo, like, first of all, you're only 16. You're lucky we were letting you date this kid. But it's just so dope. It's so dope. But it is something that's hard to step into for the average person. I think you have to have a lot of patience. And you also have to be very comfortable with who you are, with who they are. And then also be able to have that that conversation and that communication with your wife or your husband, depending on which mate you are. And having that real line of communication to be a parent. Mm-hmm. Because they gotta want you to be a parent as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They can't handicap you, in that situation either. So
I feel you. I adopted mine.
Yeah,
I did. I was like, oh, y'all gonna be, if I'm gonna be your dad, I'm really gonna be your dad. Yeah. You're gonna have his last name.
So it's funny because we've had that conversation, right? And down to if my wife's saying something ever happens to me, I want you to, stay with the kids. And I don't want, but I'm also very respectful of the fact that they also have a father, right? And I'm very respectful of that because I have a child now. Mm-hmm. And, I wouldn't want somebody else to come in and act like their dad and be their dad. I think it's a very fine line, and it's very touchy, and it has to be kind of handled the right way.
For sure.
So I'm always very respectful of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I get it. You know what I mean? I have a child now. I get it. So yeah.
Man, Yeah, I appreciate that that convo right there.
Yeah,
That was
man.
That's the
life conversations.
life conversations, right?
Yeah.
But man, of course, Nova, there's so much to get into and so much to ask. You know, it's
I know we're having some good deep
yeah, I
conversations.
know, right? You know? It's always so much to ask. You know, let's talk about doctorate.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about having a doctorate, right? Like Dr. Nova.
Congratulations.
Let's talk about Dr. International Nova.
Well, you know, first off, major shout out to Harvard Christian University for that. It was dope. It was something that was initially brought to my attention by my old publicist at the thought of potentially, you know, getting a doctorate and from school. And they were just really big fans of not only what I'm doing musically, but what I'm doing philanthropically as well. And I think I said that right.
Yep.
But really dope, really dope. And because of their love and respect for me, they also wanted my wife to get one as well. And you know, it was so dope because it was a lot of other big celebrities that got it with us, right? Troy, shout out to Troy Taylor. I've been a huge fan of Troy Taylor for years. Met him first at the doctorate because he got his as well, and now I see Troy everywhere. I bump into him everywhere. It's funny as hell. I just bumped into him at the Missy concert. But it was a lot of really dope individuals that got their doctorate. But it was so dope to me and to everybody there because they really treated me and my wife like we were like the biggest thing in the world. And I'm like, yo, like there's a million other like huge people here. So it was really weird at first and awkward because I didn't want to take anybody's shine away, man. But when we got off stage, like everybody bum rushed us. We did a million interviews and, you know, but what was so dope about it was my aunt passed away recently from stomach cancer. Youngest in my family, you know, she was having stomach pains and thought it was something as simple as just a normal stomach pain. Went to the doctor, couldn't find out she had stomach cancer. We were told that she would have, you know, a couple of years. And unfortunately, she passed away in 6 months. But, you know, she was really, really a beautiful person in and out, inside and out, man. You know, and really a big supporter of mine and my music. And when she passed away, I really wanted to do something in her honor, right? So I started this nonprofit organization for single mothers, right? And it's something that we've been building and really, you know, fine-tuning and getting right. And I've done a lot of press for it and news and things like that, just to kind of build up that buzz around it. You know what I mean? I want my aunt's name to live on and to, you know, be a sign of empowerment for other women. So at the doctorate, which was so dope because I wasn't expecting this, they, as they were giving us our doctorates, they said, wait, hold on, we want to say something. And they ended up doing this whole big speech and this whole big thing and gave me a whole separate award that only myself and Nipsey Hussle and Teddy Riley have gotten.
Wow.
And it was in honor of my aunt and for what we're doing with the nonprofit organization. And it was so dope and really, really amazing because it's one thing to get honored for the music and for what we do and things like that. But it was also really freaking amazing to get honored for something like that because for me, that also means a lot. You know, I was raised by a single mom, you know what I mean? So my stepdad came in my life. You know, my aunt before she passed away was a single mom. You know, I know that struggle, you know, so for me, it's really big to, you know, build the Ellie Motherhood Foundation and to really be something that is a blessing to others. And we had our first winner, our first scholarship winner. You know, we provide food, aid, money, you know, clothing, you know, tuition for, you know, if you're in school and you need some tuition assistance, we provide all that. Wow. And the doctorate was really, really dope because, yeah, it's cool for me to get my doctorate and Dr. Nova and all this other stuff. But it's, to me, just so amazing that we were able to do that for my aunt and to get another award in her honor and be able to really propel this foundation forward. So yeah, I was super dope.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
That's
it was touching, man. It was touching.
I'm sure it was touching.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
My wife did. My wife cried.
I
I didn't cry because I was more surprised than anything. Like I was stunned. you know. But I mean, there was people in the audience crying. Like everybody came up to us and was like, "Oh my God, like we want to be a part of what you're doing." It was so dope. It was so dope. And I actually met Sir Earl from what is that group, man? Staying Alive and all these different songs.
Oh, the Bee Gees.
No, not the. I'm sorry,
no,
not the Bee Gees. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh snap!
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you said Staying Alive. I was like, wait, that's the Bee Gees.
Yeah. But he came up after I got out.
dope.
He was like, dude, you're amazing. He's like, I just learning about you. He's like, let's work, let's whatever. So dope, man. And again, relationship building. And shout out to Harvard Christian University and Dr. J and everybody over there, man. They're so dope.
That's what's up, man. Like that's an honor right there too.
It's amazing. It's not something that I expected. I ever thought I would get. You know what I mean? But it was you cry. Yeah. Yo, it was dope. It was dope, man. So my son was there. Like it was so dope.
Yeah, I would do it. Boo, boy. Especially at the part where they give me a special award in recognition of the philanthropic work with my. Oh my God,
it was definitely something that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's awesome. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about your music yet, so let's talk about it.
Yes.
You've done a lot. I actually went back and started watching a lot of old videos.
Yo, you know what's funny? I cringe when I watch my old stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because
I listen to my voice and I'm like,
yeah. Because you know it's always progression, right? And I hear something I did 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh. But yeah,
man. Like I did. I forgot the dude's name that I was watching. The video on the video said 13 years ago. And I was like, oh, I think his name was. I can't remember.
Was it me and Tony Sunshine?
No.
13 years ago. Man, that would have been.
He was a singer. The black guy singer. Or maybe that was 11 years ago.
Notes.
No, and then you had a rap part to it, but he was singing. He had like on the glasses. I can't remember what the artist's name was.
I'm trying to figure out what it was. You know, over the years, I've done so many features and so many records and so many videos.
I'm sure.
The cool thing is, a lot of people don't know, I shoot and edit all my own videos. The only one that I did not shoot was Dime, which is the one I put out before this last record here. But I've every single video I've been in, I shot, directed, and edited. So
what was the goal behind that? Why? Of course, you know there's videographers. Self-sufficiency.
Right. I hate depending on people, man, because 9 times out of 10 people will let you down. Unfortunately. So
it's true.
Yo, it's for real. True. So I'm just very big on being self-sufficient. I've got all my own, videography equipment, lenses, lights, all that. So, I'm just one of those. I shoot my own stuff. I feel like every time I depend on somebody for something, they somehow always drop the ball. And I hate being in a position where I'm stuck. So now, which literally just happened recently, if I'm about to shoot a video, I always bring my equipment just in case I need it. And we just shot a video for Rakata,
you just shot a video
over at Bel Air, and my director, shout out to Cinematic, who's super dope, but he couldn't make it. His son had caught scarlet fever the day of. So now we're scrambling. I'm like, oh shit. Well, take it out, and it ended up working out, thank God. But yeah.
I got a homie, Matt B. Who lives in LA now.
The cameras.
They just bought 2 red cameras. Oh yeah, and they shooting their own videos. Red ones is
fire.
Right, they shooting their own videos now.
I got the 6K, 6K, the Black Magic.
Yeah. I'm a camera guy.
Yeah. I got 7D. I got a 5D. I got a whole bunch of lenses. I'm a techie guy. I'm
a techie guy.
I also got a degree in IT, computer science. So I'm all about technology. You know what I mean?
I went to school for computer programming. Then
dope.
I left because I played Duke Nukem the entire time.
Duke Nukem.
I was like, man, I don't want to be sitting here doing if-then statements, and I was like, nah, I'm good. SQL
statements.
I'm like, I'm good. Right? I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to.
I don't understand why they even teach COBOL to this day. Like, we don't even use anything close to that anymore.
Not anymore.
But I guess, it's just the fundamentals.
Yep.
But yeah.
I was like, this ain't what I want to do. So then I went to doing business stuff, but I was like, I thought I wanted to be a computer programmer. Like, nah.
I'll say this though: if you are a young person growing up, high school, junior high school, and just kind of getting your bearings together, computers and the medical field.
Computers and medical field. Oh my
will always be hiring and always looking for. You can always find a job in.
So what's so crazy is I work in the medical field right? My day job, and I do all this cameras, tech stuff outside of it. So yeah, I got cameras. I got 4 cameras in here. I got another. No, I got another camera. I got another camera in the closet. I'm about to buy another.
Let me tell you something, man.
I'm looking at my son. I'm looking at my son over there. I'm about to buy another camera here soon.
You know how crazy technology. Okay, it's 1996. It's 2024. Almost 30 years, if not 30 at this point, and they still don't know how and who killed Tupac and Biggie, all this other shit. These kids just killed that rapper Julio.
Yeah.
And you would have thought it was a movie. They got every single angle. Every single person was caught on camera, 8K.
8K, like crisp.
Yep.
And then they got it edited like it's a movie, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me now, like where technology's at versus where it used to be when we were, super young and whatever. But
yeah, but see, hold on. See, if we can make back in the day Hubble to look at the friggin' stars and see them mugs in super clarity. You mean to tell me you can't take them?
Don't get me started though, because I'm really big on the ancient alien theory and all that. And
me too.
And my thing is, if all these ancient cultures drew the same people in the caves without being able to communicate with each other, you know what I'm saying, in different parts of the world, you can't keep denying this thing. You know what I mean? And now we're coming up with different, the government is now admitting certain things, and when it comes to UFOs and all that. But I do think that technology has been around for a long time. I do think that, what we have now is just being recreated again and again, down to the computers and all that stuff. I was watching this documentary the other day. They found in somebody's cave, I forget which ancient culture, they had a cell phone. They were showing.
I think that's crazy. Yeah.
They have people on the walls, right? Stick figures. They got a cell phone in their hand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The other guy has a phone like up to here. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting.
Yeah, man.
Very interesting.
I'm big on that.
I have a son that will research the heck out of that.
Oh yeah.
I go down that rabbit hole.
You go down that rabbit hole? It's a rabbit hole that time.
They found in the Mayan culture, they found little gold planes.
Yeah, it's shaped like a plane.
It's shaped like a plane. Yeah. It has the whole thing, the little tin, whatever the fin, whatever they call that of the plane at the end, the wings, the propellers. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's out of this world right
there. I'm telling you.
So how has your music? Getting back to your music.
Yep.
How has your music evolved over time?
Oh man, I feel like I'm constantly getting better. Down even till right now. Like, I feel like every time I record a new song, it's just constant improvement, right? It's funny because again, I think that as kids and coming up in the game, we want to sound like how that person sounds because it's working for them. So I did a lot of that in the beginning, and that's why I said I didn't find who International Nova was till a couple of years ago. Right now, it's like when I do features, it's like, yo, I'm gonna do what I do, you do what you do, let's make it work. I don't come in with any preconceived notions. I don't want you to sound like, I don't give a, you know what I mean? You're going to sound like how you sound, and we're going to make it work. I feel like that's a true collaboration, right? And I think that when I first came in the game, me being from where I'm from and, having those guys in front of me and trying to sound like Terror Squad and trying to be the new Terror Squad and, because I'm Latin as well. And then, growing up around who I grew up with, I was constantly learning and soaking game. And then I think that as I moved out to Atlanta, and was really on my own, right? I came here, I didn't know anybody here. My first time, when I moved to Atlanta, was my first time in Atlanta.
Dang.
You know what I mean? And I really had to depend and rely on myself and learn my sound. And I still feel like I'm constantly evolving and changing things, right? I think that what I do, nobody else is doing how I do it. And I think that's what's so dope about where I'm at now musically, that when you hear an International Nova record, you know it's an International Nova record. I blend everything. I blend hip-hop, I blend R&B, I blend Latin, reggaeton, Afro, you know what I mean? Even spoken word. I got a little bit of everything into what I'm doing. And I love it. It's a big gumbo.
Yeah, man, that's the... I was listening to a single that you put out the other day. I don't know if you didn't put it out the other day. I was listening to it the other day.
Which one?
I want to make sure I get the name right. Starts with an R.
Rakata.
Okay, yeah.
So I just dropped.
I didn't want to say Rakata because I was about to mess it. I was about to screw it all up.
So I just dropped Rakata a week and a half ago.
That mug was so fire though.
I produced it as well.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because you do have a production team called The Society, but we didn't even talk about that yet.
We'll talk about that. So Rakata, I produced as well. Man, Rakata is doing some amazing things. It actually debuted at number 6 on Apple Music Land Charts. I just got an email a couple of days ago from Apple Music. We're trending all over Shazam. It's doing really well in Colombia, and the Dominican Republic is trending out there as well on Spotify. I was looking at our so we have a distribution deal with Gamma and Nvidia, right, with our label, and they got all these crazy stats, and it's like in over 100 Spotify playlists. Like the record is doing really well, and it's funny because it's not technically a single from the album. I just wanted to start putting out music again so that people say, hey, I'm back. You know, people can realize that I'm back and doing music. So it wasn't supposed to be the big single and none like that. But I wanted to do something that I think would work right now, would fit where music is at, the Latin game at right now. But I didn't expect it to be doing what it's doing right now. Like Rakata is on so many dope things. And it's just like, damn, like, okay, I'm excited. You know, we got so much. I recorded about 48, 49 songs for this album. And I'm having the hardest time cutting it down. Like Leon calls me all the time. He's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm recording another. He's like, why are you recording more music? And I'm like, because I can't stop. Like, I can't stop creating. But Rakata is doing some really freaking dope things, man. I did the cover. I did.
Did you do the visualizer?
Yes.
Yo, hey. Yeah. Yo, that visualizer was fire, bro. I was like, yo, whoever did this.
I man, you know, I'm a tech guy, so I was just looking online, finding different places, and I found this app, the software that helps you put it together, and it was just so dope. Yeah. But I did the graphics, you know, on Photoshop and all that, and then I did the cover. Like I said, I produced the song. Shout out to EJ Gob, who does all my mastering and some of my mixing as well. Him and Gabe Costa. But EJ is super dope, Latin engineer based out of New Jersey. They do all my music when it comes to mixing and mastering, and he had that joint rocking, man. And I was like, hey, okay. So we put it out, you know. I had told Melinda and Leon, I was like, oh, I really think this record has something. It's not going to be the big single, but I think it's a good fire starter. And it's doing its thing.
It's a fire starter, bro. I listened to that one the other day. I was like, yo, hold up. That beat was...
Yeah. You know what's crazy? My wife always talks about this. Me and my wife had got into an argument. And I got so pissed off. And I was like, I'm going upstairs. I'm going to the theater. And it just so happens that I had a little mic in the theater. And I was like, okay, let me just start working on something. Did the beat in like 20 minutes. Did the song in like another 20, 25 minutes. By the time I came down, she came up to get me. She says, hey, dinner's ready. And I was like, I'm recording. And then she's like, oh, this is dope. She's like, you just did this now? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, the whole song. I was like, yeah. She's like, what? And so she always jokes about that. She's like, he did that because he was mad at me. And look how dope it came out. And it's just funny.
That is funny right there. That is funny. My wife says that if we have like a passionate conversation, or if I'm like upset or sad, I can't make music. She's like, you make the saddest music when you like sad. What's funny? She said, don't ever do that again.
I can't make music when I'm sad.
Oh man.
I don't know what it is. I just can't. I'm a vibe guy. Because I've gotten to the point now that I don't write. Everything is freestyle. I memorize it in my head and I get in the booth, right? I do melodies first and then put the words to it. But when it comes to doing sad records or just records in general, when I'm not feeling it, I can't force music. You know what I mean? So that's the dopest thing about having my own studio. I can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning if I got an idea and go record it.
That's right.
You know, sometimes she'll be sleeping, excuse me, and she'll call me like 4 in the morning. She's like, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm in the studio. She's like, what? It's 4:30 in the morning. I was like, yeah, no, I had an idea.
Right.
And then 20 minutes later, she's downstairs with the baby. She's like, oh, okay, hey, you know, it's funny as hell. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is so crazy. But that's how it is. Though.
And we shot the video to Rakata at Bel Air. Shout out to Bel Air. They're one of my sponsors. This video is fire. Like, I'm actually, it's funny because I was going to start editing it tonight. So I might just do it tomorrow, but we're going to start editing the video and get that ready hopefully be ready for next week.
What you editing?
Premiere Pro. I used to do FCP, DaVinci a little bit.
Oh yeah, look, he even giving us
the thing with I love DaVinci because it's so dope for color correction, but it's a lot. It's very CPU intensive. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All the different nodes and all that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, especially when you're coloring.
But I love DaVinci Resolve though.
Oh my gosh. So we're a Da Vinci house.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
I mean, we're not Black Magic everything because I would have Black Magic cameras, but I got all Sony cameras.
Yeah.
But I love Sony. But we definitely use Da Vinci. I was
That's
using Premiere, and then Premiere was like having so many issues.
Yeah, that's why I use Premiere, because it hasn't given me no issues.
Oh man, it gave me all types.
Like I
grew
up with Final Cut Pro.
Yeah,
and I hated that because you have to render everything. It was just taking forever. I started messing with Da Vinci, but then what happened with Da Vinci is I started getting really, really busy on the music side and everything else. So I'm one of those guys that if I'm gonna work on something, I have to work on it 120% and give it my all. And if I can't, I feel like I'm cheating myself. And that's what happened with Da Vinci. I didn't get a chance, and I haven't got a chance to fully learn it. So I'm like, okay, let me just put that to the side and go to what I know completely, which is Premiere Pro.
Exactly. Because, man, Da Vinci is
it's a beast.
It's a beast, but it's my goodness, bro. Oh, yeah, I am a Da Vinci guy. I got the color panels. I got the speed editor joints. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. I would love to learn Da Vinci, man, because that color correction game on Da Vinci is fuego.
And all the stuff they just see. We got to talk about this offline. Like, I'm a tech guy. Like, I like that type of stuff.
That's fire.
Yeah, man. That's just my. But that's why when I say I do music, my son goes, "But do you?
But do you really?
But do you really? You edit and color. That's what you do. You don't really do music. You buy a lot of music, yeah. But do you really do music?
Yeah,
like I just bought that MPC X over there. He's like,
it's time.
He's like, well, why?
At that. It's timing though, because at least for me, I can't force music. That's my biggest. That's why for me, not having my own studio wouldn't work for me because I hate being put on a timer, just in general, right? You can't tell me, yo, be here at 6 and you can only be here till 9, and because I don't force it, right? And I'm one of those guys that I might start this record, and then 20 minutes later I'm doing another record, switch from that to do this record, because like I tell myself if by 20 minutes I don't have something, I got to move on to the next record. And that's in producing, that's in songwriting, you know what I mean? And I'm just one of those guys.
Yeah, me too.
That's how my mind works. I have to constantly be doing something.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I learned how to not write, because when I was writing, I used to forget what I just thought about by the time I wrote it down. So my writing wasn't working as fast as my brain was working.
I'm sure you keep like your phone or some type of recording device.
Voice note to death.
Oh, yeah, to death. Hey,
if I show you my voice notes, everything is a voice note. I come up with a melody. Then I go ahead and record the melody, and then then I'll figure out the words, and then I start mumbling the words in, and that's my process.
Yeah. That's a dope process though, and that way you don't spend so much, especially in this technologically, advanced age. You don't have to sit and write things down like that.
Was the thing. I used to come up with so much dope stuff, and by the time I finished writing it or I was able to get the pen out, I just forgot it.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I got to start a different process, and I started doing the voice notes and just doing mumbles and melody. I'm a melody artist. I love melody. So I have to always come up with the melody first. Wow. And that's my process.
Yeah. Man, no, but this has been a dope conversation.
Yes,
dope conversation.
I'm excited. I think that you guys have a dope platform. And I think what you're doing, I think your initial vision of it, right? Just the process of why you made the platform and the brand is so dope. And I think that that's what a lot of artists today is missing, is how to connect with people. How do we connect? Merch, right?
I'm waiting on my shirt.
I gotta get it to my old publicist kept begging me to do merch, and I was like, I'm not doing no damn merch. Ain't nobody gonna buy merch. When I tell you I sold out my first week of doing merch,
wow,
I made like $5,000 first. The first 3 months, I probably made about 10,000 to 15,000 just in merch. Profit of like 12 G's.
Yep, if you get those shirts,
get those.
Bro, I was selling hoodies for like $75. You know what I mean? T-shirts for like $50, and people were buying them in bulk, 4, 5, 6, 7, different orders in one shot. So I ended up buying my own press and my own this and my own that. I really believe and Leon is really big on this. He always drills this into me. Ownership. So why pay somebody else to do something if I could do it myself? My wife hates it because my wife loves to delegate, and I'm like, why am I going to pay this person to do something I could do? But
I feel you. I'm a delegate at some point. Like, okay, look, I got to spend time doing this.
Some points you have.
You can take care and do this. Like, for an example, I'm not going to edit this episode.
Your son is?
He going to edit this episode, right? I'm not going to edit the episode. He's going to edit it. He gonna add all the nice little.
What are you gonna edit it in though? That's the question.
DaVinci.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he got DaVinci.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I got DaVinci. He got DaVinci. I got a speed editor. He got a speed editor.
I would love to see some of the because I'm big on color correction. That's my thing. I would love to see some of the stuff you guys have color corrected.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he rubbing his hands.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing that I have not mastered yet when it comes to Premiere is color correction. I was really good at color correction with FCP, and then when I went over to Premiere, I'm okay with it. But I feel like, damn, I can be super dope with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Y'all trust me. Well, DaVinci will get you right with the color correction. Oh my goodness.
It's just
it will get you right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have to show you. I have to show you a couple of little tricks in there about how to take like a raw video and then just. That's what I love about DaVinci. I'll show you.
Like I was on. Have you heard of Motion Array?
Of course.
So I was on Motion Array. I'm a Video Copilot guy. I don't remember if you even know Video Copilot. So I was big on Video Copilot, right? So now, like I said, I haven't been since I've been in Atlanta. I haven't shot too many videos because I've just been able to hire people to shoot videos. But now, like I was telling my wife, like I want to get back into doing my own shit because what happened last week kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So I wanted to Motion Array last night. First time on that web, I'm like, yo. Okay, so I was, I did a membership on the spot, and when I get home, I'm gonna download some stuff and start working on the video. But no, man, I think that we as artists and as individuals have so many tools now that we can use that we didn't have before. That is so dope.
I'm gonna tell you the place though. Motion VFX.
Motion VFX.
We're gonna go, as soon as we're done. I'm gonna show you. Okay. I gotta show you because they are. Okay, anyway, give y'all excited.
That's how I get though when it comes to like plugins and gear, like studio gear. I'm a studio gear.
I'm a studio bro. Man. I got stuff. The whole closet over there is full of.
That's crazy.
It's really full of camera gear.
Keys is like that. My partner Keys with the Society. He's like that. He's because he's a true. You never met Keys, I don't think. Keys the mogul.
Yeah.
Okay. Keys is a true.
I know he's an Army. He come up to the VA. I see him at the VA. I work at the VA.
No, you're talking about Bishop. You think about Bishop?
Yeah, Bishop. Yeah.
That's from my brother Bishop. But Keys is he came up in the church, plays every single freaking instrument.
Wow.
And he's also a gearhead. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's my partner with the Society. He's also super, super freaking dope.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about Society and
the Society
and the production.
Real quick, the Society is my production team with me and Keys the Mogul. We produced and co-wrote the Step Up theme song for Neo on the Step Up TV show. We've done tons of records on my project. He's done Lauryn Hill, Ari Lennox, a whole bunch of different people as well. We both did Columbus Short's new single as well. So we did like 6 records for Columbus. He just put one of them out. We produced that as well and co-wrote on that. But man, he's my partner Keys is super dope. Does a lot of tours for a lot of big people as well. And like I said, plays every single freaking instrument. He's one of those, man. Like he can play anything. And I'd be like, yo, I hit his melody, you know what I mean? Because I'm not big on playing keys. I can kind of play to what I hear. But he's like, oh
my God.
You know what I mean? Or he'll come to me like, yo, I got this thing, but go ahead and put some drums on it. You know what I mean? Because that's my thing, drums and percussion and all that. So it's just so dope to have somebody on my team that thinks like I do. And we can literally finish each other's sentences when it comes to the music game.
Wow.
And we've done a lot of placements, got some really good things going. We're trying to get a situation now that Leon is helping us with in regards to publishing and things like that. But I'm excited, man. We got so many things going on. We're about to drop another single pretty soon. The album is pretty much done. We're getting the last 4 songs mixed and mastered. And I'm excited, man. I got a record with me and Bia that's stupid.
Wow.
You know what I mean? We just got a call the other day from Fat Joe, so we might be doing something with him from his team. And then, every single song on the project was either produced by me or produced by Gabe Costa or Mishkan Mello, which is this production team from Detroit. And I'm just excited. We got so much fire, man. Like so much fire.
Man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I already know it's gonna be fire.
Yeah.
I already.
Yeah. His name Stephen Keys.
Stephen Keys, yeah.
Dude, I know him.
Yeah. That's my brother. Yeah.
Wow.
You know everybody.
Dude, when he said Keys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my brother. He's actually in my house right now. Like we're. I know we don't got that much time. I own real estate, so I own a real estate company.
We got all the time in the world. I'm just being respectful of your time.
No, I'm good. I'm good as far as time. But so me and my wife is a licensed realtor. She's been a realtor for 5 years now. we launched the Nova Agency last year, which is our own real estate company. And in our first year, we did over 6.7 million in sales, which is super dope.
Wow.
For a 1 year company is unheard of. But Keys, we're actually in the process of closing on his first house here in the next 2 weeks. So he's currently in my house right now while we get everything ready. You know, he's originally from Philly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just happy for him, man. I think that, and I've learned that home ownership is like one of the biggest things that you can do in this world, man. And you're able to leave legacy, and you're able to leave things that your kids can really be, you know, hold on to. And me and my wife are lucky. We sold our house. We bought a nice house in Lilburn, 9 bedrooms, 8,000 square feet, 6 bathrooms, a pool, studio, movie theater. And for me, it's so dope because this is what I'm going to leave my kids.
See, that's the level I'm trying to get to right there.
Well, the thing is
theater. But see, for me, it's I'll have podcast rooms in there.
Yeah, like, so that's what we're about to do.
Oh my goodness.
So our basement has 4 bedrooms down there in my studio, a game room, another kitchen, and then our yard is like 3 levels, and then it backs up into the river. Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know, I'm gonna come over.
But it's so dope because, you know, when we did the paperwork, like when we first bought the house, I told my wife, I said, I want all this to go to the kids. If anything ever happens to me, everything goes to the kids. You know what I mean?
Trust.
And yeah. And for me, that's what we're in the process of doing now is a trust.
Man.
And then now we're about to get our first investment property. And it's the same thing. I want that to be under my kid's name. And not just my son, but all of the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm really big on, hey, if something happens to me, I want them to have this. Yep. They don't have to depend on nobody. They have their own. So home ownership and all that, man, is really dope to build legacy, to build future wealth for your kids and their kids and so on and so forth. And credit, I think credit is one of the things that our people don't really focus on, man. We wasn't taught how to handle money,
how to really use it.
They're teaching us the dumbest shit in school, but they don't teach us the things that we actually need to survive. And I think credit's one of the biggest, if not the biggest things, more important than cash in the U.S. at least. And I think that it's something that we don't really, you know, teach our people about. You know what I mean? So it's something that we're focusing on with our company, and we're doing really well, man. I'm excited for it.
That's what's up, man. The Nova Agency, man. That's amazing, brother. That's amazing. That is kudos to you.
And we got Meet the Novas coming too, man. That's our reality show. Like I said, we got a couple of, you know, big reality things that, you know, I can't speak up now, but we're working on and waiting on paperwork on some other stuff.
I saw a YouTube short. It said Meet the Novas.
Yeah. So we've been hashtagging that for a minute now. We were actually supposed to do the Housewives, and then we ended up not doing that. And then now we have another big opportunity that we're waiting on the paperwork for. That should be coming in hopefully soon. But aside from that, we are also doing our own, which is called Meet the Novas. And we're blending real estate and music and our life and our crazy life and our families. And, you know, and it's so dope, you know. And I think that I told my wife, I feel like it's like T.I.'s show, but on a different level, him and his family, you know, because we have a lot of funny stuff going on in our family. It's hilarious, but we also do teach our kids a lot of different things that I feel like our people doesn't do for our kids. Right. You know what I mean? And credit and building wealth is one of them.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. I'm glad you got it in the trust.
Yes, sir. So, you know, I've been learning on and just reading. Like I said, I'm a researcher. I'm a YouTube fanatic. I go to YouTube University whenever I can. But I'm really big on learning things, and that's one of the things I've been really deep diving on is the building of the trust and putting your house on a trust and all these different things and really, you know, separating different things and paying your own kids and then taxing that off and, you know, a lot of different things.
Yeah. And it's so easy. What people don't realize, it's so easy to do. It's really easy to do. We just did it early this year.
Oh yeah.
Was it early this year? Probably like 3 months ago.
And you put the house in the trust?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because the government can't touch it.
They cannot.
That's crazy.
Yes, sir. My wife was like, look. So my wife does real estate.
Hey. We got
Bro, this is so crazy. Like this is so crazy. Like, so my wife does real estate too.
That's fine.
And of course I usually do. It's so
right?
crazy, right?
That's crazy.
She's named Chris, right? It's just
small world.
Small world. Too many commonalities, right?
I'm telling you.
But she was like, look. She said, we want to make sure we keep a legacy for our children.
Yes.
Here's something we're going to need to do.
Yes.
I'm like, a trust? We want to put in trust you. So she schooled me on it. She's like, sit down. Teach about this trust. All right, cool. We're going to do this. I said, all right. I believe you. I trust you.
Yeah.
We put in the trust.
No, it's man. Let me tell you something, bro. I think that there's so many different things. You know, the rich stay rich because they know a lot of the tricks,
Yep.
right? Us and our families and where we come from, we didn't have the blessings of having money at an early age and having wealth, right? So we don't know those tricks.
Right.
But as you start to build business and as you start to build yourself and your family up, one of the best things you can do is just learn and just research and whatever it is that you love to do and what you have your hands in, know as much as you can about that. And one of the things that I really started doing was just deep diving on building trusts and really more because I wanted to know, hey, if I leave these properties in my kids' names, how can I protect them? And that led me to that and to that video and different other videos like that.
So Rick Ross lives down the street, right? Probably 10 miles down the street, right?
Oh, wow, okay.
And so, we drive past. Everybody drive past in this huge, giant mansion that's over there. Yeah. Holyfield, yeah. And so, I was having this conversation. Well, I think it was on the podcast. We were talking about financial literacy and just trust and tax breaks. And we were talking about his property, and was like,
Oh, I thought that was mine.
We saw on the news that he purchased bulls.
Yes, I've seen that. But you know why he did that? Though,
I do.
Yeah.
I do. So that's what we were talking about. I was like, I do. I know why you did it, right? Because now it's classified as farm, and farms don't have to pay them taxes like that. You got to pay tax. Nah. So. And that's what. So and
there's other tax breaks for it too.
Other tax breaks, but these are the things that. I'll just put it out as it is. White people teach their children.
Yes.
Right. We get mad at a lot of people for not paying tax. Millionaires and billionaires not paying taxes, but there's a tax code for a reason, and they know the tax code.
Yeah.
Anybody
anybody can do it.
Anybody can go read the tax code, and you can do the same thing.
I was watching this video last night. If you own a house and then you're using your equity on that house to buy an investment property, you can now tax off the interest from that property.
Yes.
Like, there's so many different things.
There's so many things.
It's crazy.
So many things.
There's so many different ways to make money, to save money, man. I think that sometimes we just don't have we don't have the interest in learning about it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotta ask a question now. Do you think that's because we're too busy trying to be rappers and singers and basketball players?
I don't know if it's rappers and singers and basketball players. I just think that we are too busy trying to be there and fit in with the Joneses. I think that we are too busy measuring our success by the next person's success.
No, the reason why I say that, and I ask that question that way, is because we see it from a social media perspective, the glitz and the glam, and we think, oh, that's fast money. What's your thing? I don't know why
it's not. And I think people forget social media is life is about moments. Social media is your best moments.
Your best
9 times out of 10, you're not going to see somebody post a video of them busting their ass.
Right.
It's going to be of them winning and whatever winning might be in their book, but it's always their best moments.
Right.
And again, to me, I think that we as a society, brown, black cultures, we look at our own and measure our own success by the next person's success. And I think that's what kills us, and that's what creates envy and jealousy and hate. You know what I mean? I'm a big person of, I was saying earlier, Melinda's not a gatekeeper. I've never been that as well. If I can help somebody, I'm going to help somebody, right? What you do is not going to stop me from what I'm doing. There's so much money in this world. There's so much money in this business. There's so much money in literally anything that we're doing that anybody can make it. You making $1 million is not going to stop me from making $1 million if I can. But I think that people measure their own success by the next person's success, and that just creates envy and a cascade of all these other different things. And I think that's what stops us from progressing as people and from really wanting to absorb and learn and figure out what's out there for us. Because it's more than just being a rapper. It's more than just being a basketball player. Although we are as a culture, we're very good at those things.
That's right.
But there's so much more. I mean, I always tell people, just because I'm a rapper doesn't mean I can't have a degree. I have a degree. I own several businesses. You know what I mean? Why? Because I'm a rapper. I'm not supposed to do that.
Right.
You know, that's one of my things in the beginning of my career. When people used to look at me, oh, you have a degree. Like what? I'm not supposed to have one because I rap. Like,
Yes.
You know, and I think that's one of the things that used to really rub me the wrong way. But then I realized, like, yo, we do it to ourselves. You know what I mean? I think, and again, I think a big part of that is we as people measure our success to what we see somebody else's success is. Right. And that's not life, because, yo, you can be very successful. And I even realize it because you're so much into the grind of getting there that you don't see the progress. Like I said earlier, you're stuck in your own tunnel. You know, and I think that we all have the capacity. We only use 10% of our brain. As a species, like, we only use 10% of our brain. The people that used a little bit more, even 1 to 2% more, are the Walt Disneys, the Einsteins, all these other people that became
like the B. Vaughns and.
You know what I'm saying?
The B. Vaughns.
I just think we gotta think outside the box.
That's the Jedi Master right there. I'm telling you.
Oh man, y'all say.
For real. I always tell you that. You the Jedi Master.
Listen.
Well, I appreciate you, brother.
That's fine.
Man, last question.
Yes.
And it's the most basic question.
Oh, let's get it.
What would you tell other people if they're trying to get into this world?
I always say this, and, you know, I always say the same thing. You know, I don't mean for it to be cliche, but don't take no for an answer, right? I think that if I would have stopped when I got my first no, I would have never been International Nova. I would have never been able to accomplish many of my dreams that I've been able to accomplish. You only need one yes. And it doesn't have to be the first person that you ask. You can hear a million no's before you hear that one yes, but all you need is one yes if it's the right yes. You know what I mean? So don't ever give up. Don't ever take that no. The crazy thing about music is that music is subjective to the listener, right? So what might be trash to me might be amazing to you. And that's all that person needs, right? I was lucky, and I am lucky that I have fans and people that support my music, right? But I've always said that if I only had one person that liked my music, it would still mean the world to me. I would still be as happy as I am now with just that one person. Because one of the things that I always said was, if I can have 1/10 of the respect and the outreach that Tupac had, then my music career was important enough for me to keep doing it and for me to bust my ass and continue to bust my ass to be who I am and to make a legacy for my family. Because 30 years later, we're still talking about this man like he's here. His music still resonates. You know what I mean? People still adore this man. You know what I mean? And it's because, you know, he was true to who he was. He had multiple personalities like we all do. You know, meaning, you know, he might be happy today, he might be angry tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? He may hit him up, but he also may keep your head up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that that duality is something that we all have inside of us. But I think that sometimes we're too nervous to be us. And I think he was unapologetically him. And I think that I'm in that part of my life right now. Like, I am who I am. And I'm going to always try to put my best foot forward. But I'm not going to dim my light anymore for the next person. And I think that as people, we need to do that. And any artist, you know, any person, whether it's trying to get into politics, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a rapper, you want to go, you know, you got a good jump shot. I think that never dim your light for the next person. You know, I've been able to accomplish a lot in my career that I thought I never would. And I think that anybody can do that. You know, I'm from the Bronx. I'm from New York City. My favorite basketball player was Stephon Marbury. Right? He's one of my good friends now. You know, I met Stephon when he was doing Starbury. And they needed a theme song. And at the time, we were buzzing, so they called us. I'm going to tell you a quick story. My first time meeting Stephon Marbury, we were having dinner at Child's, Mr. Child's, right? I pull up in the whip, park my car outside. 10 minutes later, my car gets towed. Oh. Not bullshitting you. My first night meeting Stephon Marbury, right? He was my idol, my basketball idol at this point. You know, he's from Coney Island. Like, I followed his whole career, right? I was like super nervous to meet him. My truck I had a Nissan Murano. It got towed 10 minutes after I parked the car.
Dang.
He comes out. I'm like bugging out, you know what I'm saying? Me and my girl at the time. And I'm telling him what happened. He leaves. He takes off. I'm like, fuck. Like, I done fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, I messed up my only shot. He comes back 10 minutes later with like $2,500 in cash. Was like, here, go get your car.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He just met me.
Yeah.
Just met me. You know what I'm saying? And left. I'm thinking, shit. I blew my shot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out how to get home. I'm stuck in downtown New York City.
Yeah.
He pulls up in the Maybach 10, 15 minutes later, gives me $2,500 in cash. I'm like, hey, go get your car. You know what I mean? And then from there, we had a really good friendship. And, there's still a video on YouTube now. If you YouTube Stephon Marbury and Nova, you're going to see a video of him and me freestyling. You know what I mean? And again, it's just full circle moments. And I think that those things only happen because I never took that first no and quit.
Right.
I kept going.
Right.
So that's what I always say, man. Keep going.
Man. Keep going. That's the
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've had some crazy moments in my life, yo. And that was definitely one of the top ones. Hilarious, man.
Man, I am sure. Man, International Nova, it has been a pleasure, brother, having you on the Indie Unplugged.
I
greatly appreciate it. Man, that's his journey is
and I'm gonna say this, that happened when he was still playing for the Knicks.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Like this is not China, Stephon. This is when he was playing for the Knicks.
Right.
Wow. But no, thank you guys for having me. I had a great time. Relationships. Like I met this man 4 or 5 years ago. Probably more than that now at this point.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? And we always kept in touch through social media and things like that.
Yeah.
And texting every now and then. But, when I was watching Leon's interview, I saw him. I'm like, yo, that's family. And then it just what happened, I think like a minute or two later in the interview, you were like, yeah, I know International Nova and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
right.
And I was like, yeah, that's so crazy. But, life is about moments. So I think when you string up enough good moments, you had an amazing life.
For sure.
And I think that's where we're at right now, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to end it with that, lady. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you very much for tuning in to the Indie Unplugged. Of course, I'm your host, B. Vaughn.
This is Just Shahanse.
And of course, we got the amazing, the versatile, the talented International Nova.
Yes.
Peace out to everybody. Y'all have a great evening, day, whatever it is, maybe for you. Peace.